In this world, power decides who lives and who gets cast aside. I was born without mana, without a future. But everything changed when I faced death. In the depths of the abyss, something awakened within me. And now, everyone will pay the price. Inside me, running so deep, turned into power I learned how to keep. They tried to break me, bury my head, but I came back stronger again and again. I'm not your hero, I'm not your cure, I'm the poison you made. It was a common afternoon in the year 2326 at the front line of Mount Siwak's base. In the Samhan Empire, various soldiers were advancing in pursuit of a man who was fleeing, not understanding what he had done to deserve this. Even exhausted, he still tried to comprehend why they wanted to eliminate him in such a manner. As he ran through the dense trees, he heard someone shout, "Stop right now, Taiju!" Beyond the trees, he managed to see the sunlight, breaking through the horizon. Falling to the ground, he coughed violently, feeling the impact of his internal injuries worsening with each passing second. He had reached the end of the line, a cliff with no way out. The leader of the troops finally caught up to him, Second Lieutenant Taiju. "Running like this only worsens your condition. After all, you are someone on the brink of death, rejected by the mana." The one pursuing him was the commander of the frontline platoon of Mount Siwak 1st, Lieutenant Jung Indong, someone who had reached the initial stage among the awakened, surrounding him along with the other guards. The officer declared firmly, "You have nowhere to escape." In front of Taiju, the abyss seemed to have no bottom, as if swallowing all hope. Overcome by despair, Taiju shouted, "Why are you doing this to me?" Indong let out a brief sigh, breaking into a slight smile. "Do you really need to ask? Being a reject, you should just accept your fate." He slowly drew his sword, pointing it at Taiju. "How did you manage to survive until 29 years old, defying what was already set?" Hearing that someone was behind all this, Kim Taiju trembled slightly, asking, "Are you talking about Honda Mitsui?" Adjusting his glasses calmly, the first lieutenant replied, "Even as your stepmother, she is still your mother. Be careful with your words." Before Taiju could react, Indon moved forward without hesitation. The young man was startled, but there was no room for resistance. The lieutenant concluded everything in a single motion. Quinta and Ju were violently thrown back, hurled directly into the abyss, watching the fall. The officer smiled coldly, completing his mission. "The two sons of Mitsui's law will inherit the territory of Paju. Farewell." 300 years earlier, on a certain day in the year 2026, the sun was obscured by an eclipse. And, at that moment, mana emerged on Earth. As a consequence, 90% of humanity disappeared. The climate changed drastically. Entire cities crumbled, and in a single moment, civilization collapsed. 300 years later, in the year 2326, the survivors finally began to adapt and rebuild the world. However, with the emergence of magical beasts and poisonous plants altered by mana, a new era of conflict began. As this war dragged on, a caste system based on mana affinity was established: awakened, compatible, adapted, and rejected. The protagonist's father was a high-level awakened, a true master, King Wang Bang, a respected brigade general. He, despite being the eldest son, was someone rejected by mana, destined to slowly succumb to the influence of this useless energy. Incapable burden. These were some of the words constantly directed at Quinta and Ju in a plane beyond the world, where galaxies moved slowly. A voice echoed, "Haha, I worked so hard to achieve immortality, but looking closely, this doesn't seem like paradise. It looks more like a strange mix between my clan and completely bizarre things." Observing the earthly world from that elevated plane, the old man licked his tongue, clearly disturbed. "What place is this, and what are these things? Can you tell me?" In front of him was Kim Tae-ju. Below his left shoulder was the deep mark of a blow. Half conscious, he wondered if he was still alive. As he lifted his gaze with difficulty, he saw an old man slowly walking toward him. The man extended his hand, enveloping him in a restorative energy, lifting his body to face him directly. The elder who watched him with interest was the ancient supreme lord of poison, Tang-gun AC, patriarch of the Tang clan from Sichuan, the absolute pinnacle of poisonous arts and hidden weapons. When the demonic cult dominated Jianggu,
he defeated the so-called celestial demon, leader of the cult, using only his mastery over poison. Thus, he became an absolute master of Murium. And unexpectedly, it was he who shared the same soul with Quinta and Ju during their quest for ascension. In his final years, his soul ended up connecting with that of the young one at the moment they recognized each other. Memories began to flow into Taiju. He murmured, "Tanganak, you are me." The old man with white hair smiled slightly. "So these are your memories." Recalling the name of the young one, Quinta and Ju, he continued, "You are my version in this world. We share the same essence. Still, even with this potential, you have been disregarded because of the limitations placed upon you." Tangan quickly understood. That was the young man's mental refuge. They were one and the same, and he knew this clearly. "With my experience and the knowledge you already possess, if you use this properly, you can become a supreme master in this world." A vast energy began to flow into the body of Quinta and Ju, coming from all directions, as if the universe itself responded to the call. The old man's voice became distant and ethereal. While instructing him, "Use this power to live as you wish. I wish you good luck in the battles in Taiju." The protagonist awakened from the strange encounter, his body completely stained with red. He opened his eyes with difficulty. All the knowledge remained in his mind, now combined with that of Tangum. AC, Quinta, and Ju dug their fingers into the dry ground and clenched their teeth, consumed by intense determination. "If I want to survive, I need to master the martial art that made Tangunak become a supreme master, the technique that transforms poison into power, the art of the primordial poisonous spirit, formless." Fortunately, small poisonous plants grew close to the spot where he had fallen. Without hesitation, he pulled them from the ground and brought them to his mouth, consuming them to survive. By converting the poison into internal energy, he would form his poisonous dantian, the absolute essence of toxic power. The energy coursed through his body like lightning, breaking, shattering invisible limits. His eyes filled with determination as a new goal emerged in his heart. "I will change the fate of a rejected one. I will rebuild my body, survive, and make everyone answer for their actions, starting with you, Jung Indong." When night fell, the group sent by Jung Indong began to search the forest below the cliff for the body of Quinta and Ju. The first lieutenant, visibly irritated, shouted, "Why are you taking so long? Find him!" It was not just Quinta and Ju. It didn't take long for the guards to find the young man sitting on the ground and, to everyone's surprise, still alive. One of the soldiers commented cautiously, "Sir, the aura he exudes seems strange. Is this some kind of human reaction?" Around Quinta and Ju, a greenish energy similar to the essence of nature itself. He rotated slowly as if he were the silent center of a storm. This was not mana, but the essence of the poison he had accumulated within himself. Jung Indong frowned in discomfort. How could a mere reject do something like this? What are they waiting for? Quickly, eliminate him before this becomes a problem. One of the guards advanced, wielding his sword. The blade came down towards the young man with closed eyes, who opened them at the last moment upon sensing the approach. A side punch, surrounded by the poisonous essence, struck the sword accurately, sending it flying into a tree. The first lieutenant and the other guards gulped as they witnessed that display of power. Taiju himself observed the energy emanating from his body. This is internal energy. A new confidence began to grow within him. With that power, he could finally repay all that had been done to him. Kim Taiju stood up slowly, his expressionless face as he said, "It's good to see you again." The lieutenant scoffed, mocking. "And this calm attitude? Now are you going to tell me you awakened? You don't even have a mark." Taiju briefly reflected on that. The awakened were classified into levels, from master to user, and each level left a visible mark on the face. Jung Indong was merely a beginner in terms of Murim, equivalent to a third-rate martial artist. Now, facing him, Taiju felt that the man was nothing extraordinary. Disinterested, Kim Taiju asked, "Have you finished talking?" Jung Indong was enraged by such indifference, but Taiju did not speak in vain. He pulled out some coins from his pocket and, with the poisonous energy overflowing from his body, declared, "Now you will answer for everything you have done to me." Seeing that, Indong thought it was a joke aimed at him. Ju had lost his sanity. He drew his own sword and ordered his subordinates, "Everyone attack together!" Even though it was his first real battle, Kim Tae-ju felt extremely calm, perhaps because he had merged with Tanganak. Even rejected by mana, the path of poison still existed within him, and with the power of his other self, he was sure he would win. The coins were thrown with precision, utilizing the art of hidden weapons. They cut through the air like silent specters, advancing with terrifying speed. Each coin pierced through a soldier with absolute precision. The bodies of the 4 squad members were flung back by the impact. Taiju advanced among the enemies like a blur, leaving trails of energy behind. His hand formed a seal, and his curved fingers took on the shape of claws. His target was Jung In-dong's chest. The first lieutenant was thrown away, surprising the guard next to him. The soldier turned in shock and managed to draw his weapon, pointing it at Taiju. However, the moment he fired, the young man had already disappeared. Taiju appeared right in front of him, leaving behind only a residual image and a chilling phrase, "Too slow." The protagonist cornered Jung In-dong, who was lying before a tree. With a weak voice, the lieutenant asked, "What are you going to do to me?" Taiju's answer was straightforward. "Even the awakened are powerless against poison." Jung Dong noticed something strange. Nonetheless, he said, "You don't have a mark. How can you use that kind of power?" Taiju showed slight disdain. The power Gunak would be offended to hear this. He then added, "But tell me, how does it feel to be on the other side now? Isn't it an unpleasant feeling?" Indong's body began to give in inside. Desperate, he tried to plead for his life, but Taiju, he was unmoved. He grabbed the lieutenant by the neck and lifted him, his eyes reflecting the fury accumulated over years of unsuccessful pleas. Indong tried to threaten, "Do you have any idea who is behind me?" He attempted to mention Honda Mitsui's name, but was interrupted by Taiju's firm grip. The protagonist released even more energy, and Jung In-dong was completely consumed, leaving no traces. Observing what was left, Quinta and Ju smiled slightly. "Don't worry, I don't intend to disappear." Without a fight. The next day dawned in the Samhan Empire, a nation formed after the Mana Cataclysm, uniting ancient territories of Korea, China, and Japan. Taiju's hometown, Paju, was part of this empire, a small and extremely poor region. Inside a meeting room in a large residence, a surprised voice echoed, "What? Taisju has disappeared," the man at the table confirmed, explaining that there had been an attempt to neutralize during a military operation. He continued, "Lieutenant Jung In-dong and his squad reported an ambush near a cliff during a patrol. There were more details in the report. Second Lieutenant Kim somehow survived, was officially discharged, and has been missing since then. But that wasn't all. Lieutenant Jung and his squad seem to have been attacked and killed by monsters during their escape." The leader of the residents showed even more surprise. "What exactly happened?" The officer replied cautiously, "There are indications that the attack was ordered by officers linked to Japanese affiliates." Brigadier General Franzel, bringing his hand to his head, said, "Japanese? Don't tell me this was the work of Mitsui." Honda Mitsui, a member of an influential Japanese family integrated into the Samhan Empire, was the mother of Taiju's half-brothers, Tai Pyung and Tai Tium. To ensure that the territory of Paju would be inherited by her children compatible with Mana, she waited for the death of Taiju, a rejected one. The general reflected, since he had survived this long, had her patience run out? Then she sought help from the family in the Kyushu territory to arrange everything. Kim Wong-bang knew that the son would not have much time left to live. Nonetheless, he still hoped that Mitsui would wait for the situation. It was delicate, but Paju was also facing difficulties. He relied on her family's financial support. There was only one choice left. The general declared, "I will take care of this from here. You may leave." The doors closed soon after. Kim Wong-bang knew that, as a rejected one, Saitu would eventually succumb to the influence of the Mana. Reaching 29 years was already extraordinary. Mitsui's actions had crossed boundaries, yet he chose to ignore everything for the sake of Taipyeong and Taichian, who would inherit his territory. As for Taiju, in light of his disappearance, the general believed he would never see him again. He would not send out searches, only letting one last thought slip: live the rest of your life in freedom. Carrying a backpack, Quinta and Ju arrived at the border zone of the magical beasts of Jiri, in the territory of the Samhan Empire. Before him was a city surrounded by mountains, cut through by lakes. He was even impressed. "Wow! From this point, you can see Guri completely." There was another person in the mountains. Besides him, a man approached. "Hey, Mr. Kim, is it your first time seeing the panoramic view of Guri?" The young man agreed, revealing that he had never spent much time in the city. The man seemed to understand, also realizing that he did not know the place well. Up to 300 years ago, the free city of Guri was just a small region in South Korea, but everything changed when it was incorporated into the Samhan Empire. There was an exceptional amount of magical creatures at Mount Guri that needed to be contained. Therefore, the emperor designated Guri as a strategic base and declared it a free city. There were tax exemptions on byproducts of magical beasts, special permits, and various unusual relaxations with reduced regulations. Awakened, they began to gather there, and the hunts became extremely active. According to the man, this is how the free city of Guri transformed into a prosperous metropolis, responsible for more than 20% of the byproducts of magical creatures in the empire, becoming a true land of opportunities for those in need of money. In the face of such a lengthy explanation, Ju felt his ears throbbing. The man concluded his speech, advising him to be careful, as there were also dangerous criminals in the city. Smiling slightly, the protagonist thanked him. The man also said that he could ask anything if he had questions, and then bid farewell. Despite talking too much, Taiju acknowledged that the warnings were helpful. Not long ago, after surviving Jung In-dong's attack, he cut all ties with his past and left, seeking a place where he could strengthen himself. That's how he found the free city of Guri. The empire's authority there was limited, making it difficult for his family to discover his whereabouts. Moreover, the area was filled with poisonous magical beasts and toxic herbs, making it perfect for training his martial arts, something that still felt partially unfamiliar to him. The near-death encounter, the soul-sharing with the legendary martial world master, and the spiritual art he received all contributed to Honda Mitsui's attempt to destroy him. In fact, it ended up opening a new path even without money or great initial strength. On Thursday, Eju was evolving while working as a porter on Mount Gear. Suddenly, someone called him. The man accompanying him, curious, Taiju asked who the strongest person in the group was. The man pointed to a swordswoman among them. She was a professional awakened, Lee Hanel, ranked at the regular level. Taiju realized she was young and yet impressive. He knew that a regular level was above a beginner, like Jiangdong. Still, something intrigued him. Her mana flow seemed unstable, as if it were out of control. Suddenly, the awakened woman's eyes rolled back, and Lee Hanel collapsed to the ground. From the young woman's body, the group saw a small red mosquito, a third-rank mutated creature. Take flight. Be careful. Don't let it sting you. On Thursday, Eju observed the insect with curiosity. A red-haired mage raised her staff, gathering fire energy. Get out of the way. I'll handle this. A large, flaming sphere formed and was hurled at the mosquito. The explosion completely engulfed the creature. Taiju asked the porter beside him, "Boss, why are they making such a fuss?" The man explained that if the mosquito stung someone, that person's mana temporarily disappeared, just like it happened with Lee Hanel. In some cases, the victim even fainted. As many groups had already been defeated because of this small enemy, everyone remained on high alert. There was something in Tangunok's memories that matched that description. Taiju considered taking the opportunity to test his poison spiritual art. He approached the young awakened and touched the site of the sting. The protagonist checked her condition, asking if she was all right. On the other side, one of the hunters trembled with fear. He warned the team leader that they did not have adequate equipment against insects and suggested falling back with the unconscious awakening. The leader agreed that it was the safest option at that moment. However, a sound arose from the bushes. The leader immediately warned, "Prepare for combat." What appeared was a long-tailed rabbit, a magical creature at the bottom of the food chain due to its high reproduction rate. It was often used in tests. The group felt relieved and even embarrassed for reacting with such alarm. The leader took a deep breath and said, "Okay, everyone, let's reorganize and fall back." But as soon as he finished speaking, an attack struck his neck. He and the companion beside him were instantly brought down in front of the mage who had eliminated the mosquito. Their bodies fell to the ground as large monsters emerged from the shadows. Orcs, carrying axes and clubs, appeared in numbers equivalent to the group. One of them roared fiercely, making the group tremble even more. With Liranu down, the fire mage, realizing the gravity of the situation, declared, "I will buy time, take the wounded back." The rest of the group fell back, leaving her to fight alone. The porter approached Tae and Ju, visibly nervous. The protagonist spoke firmly, "Go ahead, I will stay." The man couldn't believe what he heard. They were not in a position to help, but there were many wounded and Tae and Ju wanted to do something. He placed Lirano over the shoulder of the other porter and asked him to take care of her, pointing to the rear. Tae and Ju insisted, "We don't have time, go. I will just give a little help." The man ran hurriedly, asking Tae and Ju to survive. With a slight confident smile, he replied, "Don't worry." Observing the battlefield, Tae and Ju noticed something unusual. The orc attacks were too organized. The fire mage conjured another technique. Forming a flaming spear and throwing it, she looked back and noticed that one of the monsters was advancing toward the wounded, spinning. The body channeled the fire at the tip of the staff as she completed the movement, raising a large wall of flames. Quinta and Ju covered their noses, avoiding inhaling the smoke and the hot air. He kept observing until he noticed something strange, a subtle movement. The mage also noticed, but it was too late. An orc was already behind her, lifting his heavy weapon to deliver a devastating blow. The Celestial Kingdom was a place where floating islands spread across the horizon as far as the eye could see. Among these countless islands, there was a small garden with a tranquil lake. It had been a month since a man with white hair had arrived there. That would have been impossible for Tangonak if he hadn't met Taiju through the newfound knowledge gained from a world called Earth, acquired through the sharing of souls. Tanganaki reached a new enlightenment. Furthermore, he finally achieved the ascension he had desired for so long. However, what he did not know was that the Celestial Kingdom was like a prison, filled with dangerous individuals. Wherever he looked, there were all kinds of people, sect founders, legendary masters, all alike, all behaving like untamed beasts, driven only by the impulse to fight. While observing that, Tanganak remembered the connection he had established with Quinta and Ju. It was this that led him to that result, and for that reason, he decided to see the positive side of the Celestial Kingdom. The old man wondered how Taiju was doing. They shared the same soul, but due to the paths they had taken, he had become an absolute master of the martial world, while the young man lived as someone weak, rejected by all. He hoped that at least the power he had gained would help. Taiju was finding happiness by overcoming the limits he had seen in his memories. To achieve this, it would be necessary to reach the 7th star of the primordial poison spirit art. He wished for him to evolve quickly. The old master smiled. "If fate allows me, we may meet again one day. I will be keeping new things to teach you at that moment." While thinking about how to continue his own training, the old man was struck on the back of the neck by another master who was flying. A sword laughed. "What is the taste of true telekinesis of the poisonous and deadly sword? How dare a mere user of hidden weapons underestimate fencing?" Furious, Tang Gun Hack pursued the man through the sky, commanding dozens of daggers to attack him at the same time. On the battlefield, after raising the wall of fire, the mage was attacked. Quinta and Ju noticed in time and moved. He hit the mage on the back of the neck, causing her to faint. He then acted quickly, using an area attack technique he had learned. The art of hidden weapons was executed with coins that flew towards each of the orcs. The coins hit the monsters, and as they knocked most of them down, returned back towards Quinta and Ju. The protagonist did not grow poorer. The coins fell a few steps away from him. Collecting them, he looked around in surprise, not expecting to have defeated all the monsters, but it was extremely satisfying. The protagonist then wondered what he would do regarding the mage he had knocked out. He yet was so hasty that he ended up knocking her out too. There was no benefit in having his strength discovered, even if they were just orcs. Someone compatible with mana could face a non-branded charger. Defeating them easily would cause a great misunderstanding. The matter could end up reaching his father, something that Taiju did not want to happen. Before anyone arrived, Kim Taiju decided to leave. He never imagined he would have this kind of concern when, just a month ago, he was merely an outcast. By mana, finding Tangunak truly changed his life. Before departing, Kim Taiju decided to collect everything he could. Hidden weapons were very inconvenient when it came to destroying evidence. Therefore, he needed to retrieve everything he had used. Since they were expensive, disposing of them would also mean losing money. Tangunak had said that automatic recovery would be possible starting from the 7th star, so there was no choice but to get stronger quickly. Looking at the amount of coins, the protagonist realized he had lost one of them. He tried to search for it, certain that he had thrown it in that area. The coin ended up getting stuck in a tree. Kim Taiju approached, and just as he was about to grab it, a red mosquito flew close to him. His reaction was immediate. He caught the insect before it could escape. Small energy of poison enveloped the mosquito, preventing any attempt to flee. Who remembered that this was not an area where 3-striped mutant mosquitoes appeared? The insect seemed to be the same one that had bitten the Awakened there earlier. Observing it closely, the protagonist recalled its characteristics. As the mosquito's poison circulated through his body, the internal energy dispersed to the Awakened, and mana temporarily vanished. As expected, this effect was similar to the energy dispersion poison of the Murim. Unlike that one, however, this was a dangerous poison with no cure. Since there was no antidote, the only way to deal with it was through protective gear. Kim Tae-ju imagined that if he could discover its exact composition, he could use Tangunak's knowledge to create a medication similar to an antidote for this type of poison. Of course, for that, he would have to find herbs on Earth with properties similar to those of Murim. There was no choice but to test by consuming the mosquito. A slight smile appeared on Quinta and Ju's faces at the thought of the idea. Without hesitation, he tossed the insect into his mouth and swallowed it. Soon after, he felt a great relief. The composition was indeed similar. If I can find the right herbs on the mountain, I will say that I can make the antidote. I feel that this could be very valuable. This will definitely be profitable. Quinta and Ju planned to test what he discovered as soon as he returned. While thinking about going back to the city, he heard the sounds of heavy footsteps. Turning his gaze, he ended up facing a gigantic orc carrying an axe as big as himself, several times larger than Quinta and Ju. Surprised, he wondered why an elite orc had appeared. The large elite orc had a wild look, with red eyes, while his dark voice murmured, "Eliminate humans." The monster was so imposing that Quinta and Ju could not even speak. That wasn't even the common spawning area for elite orcs, but first mosquitoes, then a group of orcs, and now an elite. All of this made him question what was happening on Mount Gear. While he thought, the elite orc attacked, raising the axe above his head. He roared, "Perish, human!" The strike fell exactly where Quinta and Ju was, and its force carved a huge groove in the ground in the direction where he had jumped, leaping as high as possible. Quinta and Ju barely managed to escape. It was unbelievable that a monster possessed such strength. With an attack power of that level, he should be at the very least among high-rank creatures. It was possible that none of his techniques would work because of that. Kim Tae-ju decided that he would no longer hold back, still in the air, above the elite orc. The protagonist used the coins again to execute the art of hidden weapons. Several coins fell on the orc. They hit its head, but they were too weak, some even breaking against the hardness of the monster's skin. As Taiju had predicted, not even that attack, the strongest among his hidden weapons, was effective. If the dagger explosion technique dispersed the impact, then it would be even less useful in that situation. Taiju considered his last option, to test if the poison from his poisonous palm of the blood seal would work. The elite orc roared furiously after being hit. The protagonist awoke upon hearing the roar. Realizing he was hesitating in front of the enemy, he noticed he was starting to doubt himself just because a single attack had failed. Taiju wondered what kind of person Tangunak would think he was if he saw him in that state. He had become overly confident after easily defeating that group of orcs, but now there was nowhere to retreat. Gathering a large amount of poisonous energy in the palm of his hand, he advanced. Nothing would stand in his way. He intended to keep attacking until he fell, after all. That was how the path of supreme poison worked. The poisonous palm of the blood seal skill was used, aiming directly at the elite orc. The monster raised its axe, preparing to attack the human who was approaching at high speed. The weapon was wielded and pointed forward, meeting Taiju's charge, which advanced with all his strength. The impact between the yoshike. Two attacks caused energy to explode, soaring above the trees. The orc's axe fell beside him, covered in cracks. The elite orc still stood while before him. Taiju fell to his knees. The damage caused by Taiju had been superficial, causing no real injuries to the monster's body. Reaching that point, the protagonist realized he would have to attack repeatedly. At that moment, a serrated sword appeared. Dozens of strikes from impossible angles fell upon the elite orc before it could even react. The protagonist was surprised by the attack. To eliminate a monster of that level so easily, the person who did this must have been at the very least a master. Worry and regret crossed Quinta and Ju's minds for not leaving earlier. While thinking about what kind of explanation to give, the pieces of the orc started to fall to the ground. The person wielding the serrated sword pointed the blade at the defeated orcs and asked, "Was it you who did this, kid? You don't have a mark on your face, so you can't be awakened. How could someone like you defeat a group of orcs?" The protagonist remained silent, staring at the man in front of him. Lee Jung-hak, member of the permanent committee of the city of Guri, security captain and master of the Nogadan Guild. He had that familiar condescending tone, an authoritative posture, and the power of a master. He was clearly not an ordinary person. Quinta and Ju knew they needed to choose their words carefully. First, thank you for saving me. He assumed an expression that would invoke compassion in anyone who saw him. Before the protagonist could introduce himself, the other loader from the team appeared. Mr. Kim, is everything all right? Taiju was about to respond when the man corrected him. I'm not talking about, you. I'm talking about the baggage. Even surprised, the protagonist replied, yes, that night arrived in time, so everything is fine. The man looked in the same direction as Taiju and recognized the one responsible for defeating the elite orc. Oh, are you talking about Master Lee Jung-hak? Others arrived shortly after, apologizing for the delay. He showed no interest and simply ordered them to call the cleaning team. The loader commented quietly, did you know how Guri is a free city? It is governed by an autonomous committee, not by the imperial family. Lord Lee Jung-hak is one of the 3 permanent members who actually have decision-making power. He is the leader of the Nogadan Guild, responsible for security, and also a master-ranked awakener. The man continued, we porters rely on this guild for our protection, but it ended up catching the attention of Lee Jung-hak himself, who warned him, hey, you better watch what you say. Soon as Lee Jung-hak walked away, the porter commented to Kim Taiju, you were lucky. If you clash with him, your life gets swallowed up and it's over. So avoid crossing his path at all costs. Despite recognizing that Lee Jung-hak seemed difficult to handle, the protagonist did not think he was a bad person. The man, however, revealed more details. He was a captain in name only. In practice, he accepted bribes and pretended not to see certain things. He only does these patrols as a way of maintaining his reputation. I was in a hurry and ended up running into him, so I brought him with me. Otherwise, I would have called someone else. The protagonist questioned whether that was really true. For the man, the answer was simple. A master awakener was like a natural disaster. Therefore, he advised, it's better not to get involved with people like that. Changing the subject, he suggested, let's go back to the city. All right, let's organize our load and head down before it gets late. The luggage is intact, right? Laughing, the protagonist confirmed. As he approached the large backpack, Kim Tae-ju reflected on what had happened. If that man named Lee Jung-hak hadn't interfered, he would genuinely have been in danger. It had been over a month since the soul sharing. Taiju began to wonder what he had done with that time. His expression grew darker as he evaluated himself. Just because I escaped the fate of being rejected with one power, I received it easily. I became arrogant just because I defeated a few enemies. This is pathetic. I am even ashamed to face Tangumak with this thought. He made a decision. From now on, everything will be different. I will truly become stronger. Back in the city of Guri, it was noticeable that the local infrastructure was very well established, but it still lacked some things. One example was the hospitals. It was hard to find a really good one, as the city was dangerous and doctors were scarce. The few who remained in Guri were fugitives who had caused problems elsewhere, so the citizens avoided them. As a result, what naturally grew were drugs, or rather, pharmacies. It was possible to see awakened ones and vendors everywhere offering their pills. Due to this background, pharmacists in Guri were authorized to issue prescriptions. They could prescribe and sell medication approved by the Imperial Federation or the Autonomous Committee. Business was booming. It made more sense to buy proven medication than to rely on an unreliable hospital. That is why Quinta and Ju had also gone there to sell the antidote for the 3-striped mutant mosquito. He wondered how much he had suffered in the past months to create it, working as a porter during the day to earn money, gathering ingredients in his free time, and practicing martial arts at night. Creating an antidote required delicate control, and reaching the 3rd star of the spiritual art of poison was something essential that he needed to conquer. But thanks to that, Quinta and Ju also became strong enough not to be humiliated anymore. Now, if the deal regarding the medication went well, he would no longer have to worry about money. The protagonist headed towards a large commercial building. Taking the first step to become rich upon entering the drugstore, he was welcomed. A young woman behind the counter asked how she could help, offering some products, but Taiju directly asked if the owner was present. The woman began to observe him more carefully, surprised by the approach. Taiju then revealed, I am not here to buy anything, I am here to sell. The woman smiled a bit awkwardly, and a man restocking some products, upon hearing that, cleared his throat to get attention. The man, in the prime of adulthood, had a serene look that matched his beard and mustache. He introduced himself, I am the owner here, Beck. Rumpu, you can speak to me. Besides being the owner of the drugstore, Beck Rumpu was also the director of the orphanage. Beck opened his small bag, and Taiju introduced himself better, revealing that he wanted to sell a medication he had created. The man showed little interest upon hearing him, sighing internally. But a traveling salesman is always a novelty. Each day, he turned away without even showing a desire to see the medication. We are not interested, so please leave. It seems you have not been in the city for long. If you want to make money, go to the stock market job market. Taiju took a small vial, explaining, "Still, this is the antidote for the three-striped mutant mosquito." The man was about to reject him again when he realized what had been said and asked once more to confirm, "What antidote?" Taiju confirmed the identity of the item with a confident smile. The man observed him for a moment, allowing him to explain, reaching out to take the vial. The protagonist further revealed, "It is taken orally and can be ingested beforehand. The effect lasts for 10 hours. He then let the vial of the antidote fall into the box that the store owner had. He still held the identity of the antidote. It was hard to believe. Back snapped, reacting with irritation. "If you are going to create a farce, at least make it believable. An antidote for mosquitoes? Who's prudent?" The protagonist placed 2 more vials on the counter and also handed over a card with his contact information. "Test me with them and contact me if you're interested. You have until midnight today." Placing the card with his fake name, Kim Hyun-soo, on the table, he bid farewell. "If I don't hear a response soon, I will go to another pharmacy." Both the shop owner and the receptionist, along with a warrior who was shopping, remained silent as they were all still incredulous. The warrior picked up the vial. "Wow, is this an antidote for mosquitoes?" Park Jin-soo, the attack team leader and heavily reliant on potions, asked Chief Bayek if he believed in that young man. Beck snapped, stared at him for a while before giving his verdict. "Hard to say." Taking the vial from Tiwei Jin-soo's hand, he asserted that they would find out by testing it. The pharmacy chief had low expectations, as even the best pharmaceutical companies of the Samhan Empire had given up on creating an antidote for mosquitoes. But the young man's overconfidence bothered him. The hurried saleswoman asked the adventurer Park to lower the small bottle in his hand, but the man, in front of everyone, drank the contents that needed to be tested. After drinking the entire vial, he frowned. "Is this just pure water?" Baek Hong-pil became confused and questioned if the man, accustomed to ingesting all kinds of potions, had not felt any medicinal energy, but Park Jin-soo denied it. He responded firmly, "As you said, Chief, I've already had my share of potions. If it were an antidote, I would feel some kind of energy, but this is just pure water. I raised my hopes for nothing." He threw the vial in a trash can and advised, "I checked the potion for you. He is clearly a scammer, so throw the rest away. Also," Chief Bayek looked at the bottle inside the box he was holding, questioning whether the young man was really just another scammer. Park Jin-soo placed a basket full of medicines on the counter, asking the saleswoman to check the price. She asked if he was going for another hunt, and Park Jin-soo confirmed, "Yes, we are hunting Hans today. Testing the drug of that fraud delayed me a bit." Nana, the saleswoman, calculated the price, which ended up being a bit too expensive for Park Jin-soo, who paid with some frustration, while Beck, breaking up, threw the other bottles in the trash. The pharmacy chief said goodbye, wishing him a good hunt. Inside, he was still irritated for being fooled by the story of the antidote for the three-striped mosquito. The end of the afternoon was approaching, and in a forest, martens and giant ferocious rodents attacked a group of awakened ones. The reinforced shield skill was used by the team's tanker. Various cutting attacks struck the magical barrier, while he still did not understand why those beasts with teeth as sharp as blades had appeared in that area. A swordswoman raised her katana, eliminating the last monster in the rear. After a brief moment to catch her breath, she warned Park Jin-soo that they could retreat now, panting heavily, with parts of her armor already torn. She warned that she had been bitten by a venomous mosquito. "If we stay here any longer, I think I will be paralyzed soon." Park Jin-soo heeded the request. "Okay, wait just a second. It will all be over once we take out this last one." While blocking the last monster he was fighting, a mutant mosquito flew towards him. He panicked. If he got hit, the poison in his body would combine with the new one. The paralysis would be inevitable. Collapsing in that situation, with the entire team already exhausted, would mean the end for everyone. Park Jin-soo felt that his shield was weakening, as if it were already poisoned. He wondered when everything had gone wrong. That area was infested with mosquitoes, so they had prepared repellents. However, the blade-toothed martens suddenly appeared in a mutant frog hunting area. The mosquito-repellent clothing was destroyed by them in an instant. Park Jin-soo, as the team leader, blamed himself for not paying more attention. He panicked and ended up getting hit. After suffering the stings, they tried to fall back, but they were blocked by animals that resembled furious weasels the most. Park Jin-soo wanted, at the very least, to eliminate the last monster so that everyone could survive. "The sword!" Shin shouted amid the leader's desperate thoughts. "Watch out!" Park Jin-soo recovered at that moment, his eyes widening. The strike from each of the martens came in his direction. The sharp tail, like a sword, broke the magic of the shield he had raised, shattering it. As the attack continued, Park Jin-soo felt that something was strange. Only the reinforced shield had been destroyed. He had not lost strength, and his mana remained intact. It was then that he realized and wondered, "Don't tell me the antidote actually worked?" He tried to stay focused and grabbed his heavy sword. If the antidote was real, there was still a chance to fight. He charged at the monster with sharp claws leaping in his direction. Later, when all the stores should have been closed, the door of a pharmacy was abruptly opened. Park Jin-soo was desperately searching for Baek Hong-pyo. Upon finding him, he urgently asked, "The antidote from this morning. How much does it cost? Sell me all of it. I will buy everything you have." The Guri market was extremely busy. People were shopping all over the area. Every day you could hear meat vendors shouting on one side, while armor merchants announced their equipment on the other. Having only lived in Paju and Mount Seorake, this was Kinta and Ju's first time in such a large market. He felt satisfied for taking a day off. The creation of the mosquito antidote required him to reach the 3rd star of the poison spirit art. Precise control of internal energy was necessary to correctly extract the ingredients from medicinal herbs and poisonous substances. Because he had pushed himself beyond the limit, the poisonous essence in his body became overloaded after reaching the 3rd star. Therefore, he needed to rest and stabilize the poison for a while. Additionally, he had been hired by CEO Baek during a coffee meeting. The owner of the drugstore proposed, "Let's sign a contract. I will buy everything you have." Taiju showed willingness to accept. "I think that's how business is done." Baek, who was excited, could already imagine the impact. "This medication is going to revolutionize hunting magical beasts on Mount Gear. To think I almost overlooked someone like you. I must be crazy." The protagonist did not fully understand what he meant, not knowing that he had saved Jin-soo's life. The pharmacist quickly changed the subject and got straight to the point. "How many medicines do you have in stock?" "It's enough." Quinta and Ju replied that he had 60,000 vials. Surprised, Baek was already thinking ahead and asked what would happen when the stock ran out. The protagonist casually replied that he would produce more as needed. Satisfied, Baek introduced the contract, explaining the terms. "I will set the official production cost at 10,000 IO. 1 per unit to be sold for 50,000. This includes that I will handle all the approvals and patent processes for you." There was no reason for Kinta and Ju to mention that your actual cost was only 100 coins per bottle, so he agreed to the terms. An initial stock of 60,000 units would generate 3 billion, considering the city rate was only 10%. 2,700,000,000 would remain. Still, Kinta and Ju proposed something different. "Let's do it another way. I will grant you exclusivity for 1 year and supply it for 35,001 each." Baek broke off, trying to refuse, believing he was taking too large a share of the profits. However, Quinta and Ju asked, "You run an orphanage, don't you?" The rumors about him were known. Baek Hong-pyo was seen as the father of the orphans of Guri. Quinta and Ju had heard that he maintained the orphanage with the profits from the drugstore, so he wanted to help. In exchange, he only asked for a place where he could oversee the production of the medicines. Baek broke off, held back his emotions, and accepted the young man's proposal, saying that he knew the ideal place for that. The two shook hands, sealing the agreement. After successfully signing the antidote contract and receiving a considerable advance, Taiju decided to take advantage of his day off and visit the famous Guri market to buy some equipment. On the street he walked, there were countless adventurers. A muscular man approached him. "Hey kid, do you need a new weapon?" Taiju did not expect anyone to speak to him. The bald man with a shiny head smiled widely. "That's right, my shop is the best in the area. Don't waste time looking elsewhere. Buy here. Since you're so handsome, I'll give you a special discount." Feeling uncomfortable, Taiju refused. Still, the man put his hand on his shoulder, causing shivers while licking his lips. "You are very stingy. Take a look around. It won't cost you anything." The protagonist was surprised that he couldn't distance himself due to the lack of marks. The man should be at most comparable to common blacksmiths, but he possessed surprising strength. Taiju wondered, how is my body, strengthened by a 3rd-star martial art, being dominated so easily? Could he be a secret master craftsman? Inside the bald man's shop, there were various shields, as well as hammers and daggers. With his arm still resting on Quinta and Ju's shoulders, the man introduced the place, leaving the protagonist surprised. "You did all this?" The man nodded in confirmation. "As I said before, I am the best in the city, kid." A faint energy emerged in one of Quinta and Ju's eyes, which he used to analyze the equipment. The quality of each piece was indeed high. He realized he couldn't judge someone just by their appearance. Convinced of the blacksmith's skill, Kim Tae, Ju took a piece of paper and asked if he could produce 100 copies of a piece of equipment he designed. The man looked at the drawing with curiosity. Flying daggers made from willow leaves. What are these things? They are too small to be throwing knives. Do you intend to use them? He considered the idea and analyzed the necessary materials. If they were throwing weapons, they would need to be made with mana steel. With high hopes, Quinta and Ju asked if the order could be fulfilled. The man confirmed but explained it would take some time due to the scarcity of materials. Agreeing to wait, Tae-ju asked the price, winking at him. The man replied by summing up materials and labor, and including a discount for handsome men. The total amount is 250 million won. You just need to pay a 10% deposit today. He would spend 250 million. In just 100 single-use weapons, a high value was expected, but I didn't imagine it would be so much. Still, Tae-ju decided to pay for the entire project in advance. The order was organized, and the blacksmith informed that he would send the first sample of the small daggers to Tae-ju's address as soon as it was ready. After completing the order for the flying daggers, Tae-ju began to look for armor. He reflected, "It would be good to sew pockets in my clothes and carry various poisons and hidden weapons. Like Tangunak, I should also have a long martial hobby custom-made." However, he already imagined he would draw a lot of attention if he used the same traditional style as Tangunak. He preferred to maintain a more modern look. While thinking about options for wearing modern armor instead of a long hobby, someone approached him on the street. A woman wearing a fox tiara extended her hand, handing out a flyer. "The Flame Boutique has just launched a new line of magical beast leather armors. We also have coats on display today. Come check it out." Observing the suit in the brochure, the protagonist concluded that a leather coat would be much more suitable than a long hobby. Throughout the territory of the free city of Guri, it was possible to see various skyscrapers around the lakes. Cable cars and passenger cars filled the streets, composing the urban scene. From very far away, some people were observing an imposing castle. A woman with long gray hair placed her hand on her waist and commented, "A walled city in the year 2325, it exudes vanity." Her partner with short, honey-colored hair agreed and explained that it was only possible to reach the castle by boat, as the bridges were closed or something like that, and you could only live there if you were a rich person from the city of Guri, a high-ranking awakened one, an administrator, or someone influential, like a council member. Gray was John Young-hee, the heiress of the Bayek group, from the military academy cadet. She is highly ranked in mana aptitude. She showed repulsion at seeing the powerful hiding under the pretense of security. Ayeon-ri's secretary smiled, commenting on how intimidating her lady was, and reminded, "Are you saying you came all the way here today just for a fox leather coat?" Jong Yong-ri crossed his arms and corrected, "It's not just any fox leather, it's Siberian fox leather." Illusion then explained the reason for her interest. These foxes have a small population and hunting them is difficult, so the leather is extremely rare. Armor made from this material has excellent defense, as well as being cool in summer and warm in winter. The secretary, upon hearing this, commented on how the materials seemed rare and expensive, concluding that it was worth using her vacation for this trip. Holding a credit card, she added, "All right, the president sent his black card, you can use it freely." Ayeon-ri was surprised by her grandfather's attitude, but believed it wasn't necessary, as he already had enough money. The cable car they were on announced their arrival at the destination. "Passengers, please prepare to disembark." As they got off, Dion and Yeon-ri headed directly towards the boutique, hurrying the secretary. "Kim, I am eager to see the real thing." At that same moment, Kim Tae-ju had also decided to acquire a coat made from magical beasts. Upon entering the store, he noticed that Yoon-ri and her secretary were already being assisted by a saleswoman. He announced his presence, waiting for service. The saleswoman who was attending to the two asked for a moment's leave and went to assist Kim Tae-ju. The secretary whispered to her lady, "An unwanted guest? Don't tell me he's after the leather too." The saleswoman was a woman with long red hair and a serene look. As she approached, she welcomed them, but soon recognized, "Quinta and Ju, you are the bearer from that time." Confused, the protagonist asked who she was. The seller then introduced herself, revealing that she was the fire mage who was part of his group when they were attacked by orcs. Quinta and Deus remembered her and was surprised to see her there working as a seller. She explained that this was her main job and that she only participated in the subjugation as a side job when she had time. Putting that aside, she expressed joy at seeing him again, saying that she had been looking for him, smiling somewhat shyly. The protagonist stated that there was no reason for that and tried to say goodbye, intending to leave immediately. The reason he credited her for defeating the orcs at that moment was precisely to live in Guri without attracting attention. Of course, there was a possibility that the truth would come to light when she woke up, but he was already prepared to move if that happened. Still, it was better to avoid her before she started asking questions about what happened. The mage, however, grabbed Kim Tae-ju's arm, asking him to wait. Stammering for a moment, she asked, "Was it you who saved me back then?" Tae-ju then explained that the No-Godan Guild had questioned whether she had fainted due to excessive mana use after eliminating all the orcs, and that based on that, he was able to imagine some circumstances, which is why he agreed with that version. The emotion he felt made his body tremble slightly. Still, Quinta and Ju contradicted her. How could a bearer defeat orcs? I also fainted back then. Even so, she trusted her instincts. Honestly, I don't know why you helped me, but thank you very much. Thanks to you, I was able to recover the bodies of our team leader and my beloved. Tears began to fall. As she expressed her gratitude in front of the crying woman, Taiju was unsure how to react. Although he had saved her that day, he had also, selfishly, wanted to test his own techniques. Not knowing exactly how to make her stop crying, he simply asked her to calm down. He did not believe he deserved that gratitude, yet she came to Manga, drying her tears while sobbing. I put my savior in an uncomfortable position. I'm sorry. At that moment, Secretary Kim intervened with irritation. Excuse me, how much longer are you going to keep my law waiting? Apologizing to the duo, Manga did something unexpected. She knelt down and lowered her head, deeply apologizing. I'm sorry, but I won't be able to sell the coat you chose. Upon hearing this, the protagonist was surprised, remembering that this was exactly the item he wanted. The secretary was furious, her face turning red with anger. What are you playing at? We've taken all the measurements, and all that's left is to pay. And now you say, you can't sell it? Do you know how hard it was for my law to find time to come here? With regret in her eyes, Manga confirmed her decision but explained, this is the most precious thing I have. Until a moment ago, I could have sold it, but now there is something more important for which I need to use it. Upon hearing this, Yoon-ri remained silent, analyzing the situation. Secretary Kim still wanted to insist, but was interrupted by Lady Jong herself. After a slight sigh, Yoon-ri headed for the exit. That's enough, let's go. The secretary looked incredulous, almost about to explode with frustration. How can we just leave? You said you really wanted this. Yoon-ri, however, showed no concern, since the seller now had another purpose for the item. Quinta and Ju felt uncomfortable. This was not an important customer. I feel like I've caused trouble. Manga assured that everything was fine. And she stated that, in fact, she was the one who should apologize for surprising him in that way, still confused. The protagonist asked why she had decided not to sell the coat. With a slight smile, the Manga asked if he was often told that he was slow to understand certain things, but he replied that it was the first time someone had said that. She did not seem entirely convinced, but realizing that he really hadn't understood, explained, I am giving you the coat. That truly surprised Kim Tae-ju as he approached the overcoat. She continued, I want to repay you for saving my life with this silver fox leather coat. Tae-ju did not want to accept the gift, as he had not saved the Manga with that intention. Laughing at his naivety, the shopkeeper replied, what relevance do your intentions have? The important thing is that I survived thanks to them. Then, with a slight tone of sadness, she added, if that really bothers you, then save even more people next time, so they don't lose their lives in vain as my beloved did. It was the first time Tae-ju received gratitude from someone. He had always been the target of criticism and disdain, and, being accustomed to such treatment, he secretly knew it would be a lie to say that the situation was not overwhelming, as he had not helped with good intentions. Still, receiving gratitude was not a bad feeling. With a slight smile, he made his decision. I understand. If you insist, I will accept the gift with gratitude. The Acrois boutique owner's excitement spread immediately. What a relief. Come, let's take your measurements. Meanwhile, in the celestial realm, an old man rested lying on a flying sword. He chewed a piece of plant, grinding his teeth out of pure boredom. Dongbin Seonin, the immortal of the sword, constantly complained, as there was absolutely nothing to do in that damned realm of the immortals. Everyone wore the same clothes. They had similar white hair or gray beards, even with slight variations in color. They all looked the same. The immortal of the sword eventually remembered a single different person in that place. He thought of the man named Tang, who had also arrived there from the Murim, but he was the only one who truly stood out. Despite being old as well, he had an unusual haircut and claimed that style came from another world. His beard was short, and even his leather clothes were something that no one there had ever seen before. The immortal of the sword began to wonder if Tang Gunhak had difficulty adapting and therefore had gone mad. Still, consumed by boredom, he decided to go talk to him to learn how to make those different clothes. If I change my clothes, maybe everything will be less boring, and two lunatics together seem more interesting than just one sitting on his flying sword. He made his decision. To get Tang Gunhak to teach him about those garments, he intended to offer something equally valuable in exchange. From within his hobby, he took out a large celestial pear, a fruit obtained directly from the celestial realm. Mr. Beck's orphanage was located in a large multi-story building. A part of the building was empty, known as Wing 1F. From there, it was possible to access Section B2F, where there was a large vault. A greenish light emanated from that locked room. Inside were Kinta and Ju, with one hand submerged in water, manipulating the energy of the poison. The protagonist put on a headset and answered a call from Beck Hong Pil. He informed the pharmacist that the production of the new antidotes was complete. Mr. Beck showed relief upon hearing this. Afterwards, the stock was almost exhausted and asked when Tang and Ju could send the new batch. The request surprised the protagonist, who remembered sending a shipment the previous day. "Do you need more at the pharmacy?" The situation was chaotic. News about the antidote had spread, and people were desperately looking for it. The demand was so high that the stock had quickly run out, as many were buying multiple vials to stockpile. In light of this, Kim Tae-ju instructed, "Announce that the supply will be continuous, and set a purchase limit of 2 vials per person." Baek Hongpyo agreed, but expressed concern about this sudden popularity. Counterfeit versions may arise sooner than expected. Will this work out? To conclude, 1 more vial. Kim Tae-ju confidently replied, "Maybe that will happen in the future, but right now it is impossible. Even if imitations arise, we can simply produce a different version of the medication." Despite his words, Tae-ju was fully convinced that, without the art of the poisonous spirit, copying his antidote was unfeasible. Beck noted all the instructions and assured that he would control the sales volume, asking Tae-ju to continue with production. Before ending the call, Kim Tae-ju asked, "When can I receive the packaging machine?" These days, packing takes longer than manufacturing. I've packed 20,000 vials today. You know I haven't been able to go home for a week and I've been stuck here, right? Surrounded by boxes of antidote. Tae-ju was already showing signs of fatigue. On the other end of the line, the pharmacy owner laughed and assured that he would expedite the shipping. Meanwhile, outside the door, sealed by a heavy lock, 2 young people were quietly approaching. "Hey, we shouldn't be here. They say there's a ghost around here." The boy tried to reassure her. "Be quiet! What ghost?" "They say a homeless person is living here. I will definitely kick him out." The girl, still scared, wanted to back away, believing it could really be something supernatural, but he insisted, "I am sure it is someone who stole our secret base." Suddenly, the lock began to turn, and the door opened. A fog spread through the place, and, in the middle of it, a man appeared carrying several boxes. He smiled at the children, and the fog made his figure even more frightening. "Hello." The 2 brothers were so startled that they nearly fainted and rushed to flee, with the girl almost being left behind. The protagonist set the boxes down and sighed, "What cruelty. I barely finished packing everything in time and left, and yet they call me a stinky ghost." Fifth, he smelled his own arm, and remembering that he had not bathed in a week, began to wonder if he really did smell unpleasant. Soon he recalled the request from the loader, who had asked him to replace someone. The meeting would happen soon, and he needed to hurry. If he stopped to take a bath, he would end up being late. While pondering this, a woman approached. "Are you okay, Mr. Kim?" The 2 children from earlier hid behind a woman in high heels who was carrying a box. "I heard from my father that you are working on an antidotes business together," she introduced herself. The protagonist asked who the young woman was. She realized she had not introduced herself yet, and replied, "Nice to meet you. I am Baek Seoyeon from the Baek Ko orphanage." She then cast a slight reproachful glance, explaining that the young ones were talking about a ghost, which was why she had come to check. She also revealed she was there to deliver a box. The package bore the symbol of a forge, which made Taiju realize it was the prototype of the daggers. He received the package and thanked Miss Sioyan while pinching his nose. Baek Sioyan also thanked him. Please go on. Maintaining a good relationship with my father and ensuring she would take a shower on the first floor before leaving while holding the children's hands, she stepped away as the little ones insisted that Quinta and Ju take a shower before going to clean up. The protagonist decided to check the contents of the package along with the daggers and found a card. The bald blacksmith had written, "Dear, it's a prototype. Try it and tell me if anything is missing." Irritated by the forced intimacy, Taiju tore the card without hesitation, sighed, picked up one of the daggers and examined it. The items were good, solid, and well sharpened. He threw one of the blades up, letting it spin in the air before catching it again. Both the weight and the grip were perfect. Imagining the final result, he was anxious for the complete product, as well as for the coat that was still being adjusted. The fire mage had said that the coat would be a gift, and that she would contact him when it was ready. Now that he had enough money, Quinta and Ju planned to pay for the item, realizing that he had already delayed even more. Quinta and Ju hurried, leaving the boxes aside and going straight to take a shower. The Dire Mountain was the border zone of the magical beasts. A group was waiting for the arrival of the last member. Upon arrival, Quinta and Ju greeted the chief. The porter waved back, welcoming him and apologizing for the delay. The protagonist asked if they had waited long. The chief reassured him, "You arrived just in time, thank you for coming, even though I called at the last minute." Taiju didn't mind since the chief had helped him a lot. Suddenly, an irritated-looking man, holding a katana, exploded against Quinta and Ju. "Hey, if you are the last to arrive being a low-level porter, you should come here and apologize first. Look at these damned ones treating each other like friends for nothing. This is a social gathering." The angry man said, "It was Jung Won-jun, a member of the Kondong Siok team and a beginner in using mana." The protagonist was not intimidated and replied, "You are exaggerating. I didn't arrive late for the agreed time, so why should I apologize?" The man insisted, even more harshly, "Are you answering me? If you're a markless loader, you should just accept your place. What are you basing your actions on? Do I need to cut you off for you to learn to apologize?" Quinta and Ju wondered what was wrong with that guy, if he was doing it on purpose. The irritation began to grow, as did the desire to deal with him directly. There seemed to be a reason they needed a substitute, as everyone seemed to be avoiding them. Mr. O then approached and whispered to Quinta and Ju, asking him to cooperate, even with the ongoing provocations. Quinta and Ju, already used to this type of person, decided to help Chief O and ended up apologizing. On the other side of the trees, someone shouted, "Won-jun! Stop that! Stop wasting time!" The man with the katana turned around, clicking his tongue in irritation. "Consider yourself lucky," Mr. O asked Kim Taeju if he was okay. At the same time, on the other side, Won-jun's group was urging him to start the hunt. The protagonist was confused to realize that, in total, there were only 7 people. Considering the scale of the mission, he expected at least 15 participants. Before they left, he approached the group and questioned, "Excuse me, are we really going with this number of people? Even though the recent trend is to reduce group sizes because of the mosquito antidote, this is still too little." He had directed his comment to the one who was irritated again. "That damn guy? What is he saying? What does a loader know? Don't you want to go home alive considering the safety of the loaders?" Who were despised by Wandu. Quinta and Ju replied, "If the mission is not safe, I will not participate." The swordsman became so furious he started to tremble. "Ah, a bastard who doesn't even know if he will come back alive is still replying." The protagonist frowned upon hearing that, realizing the threatening tone. The team leader, also a novice mana user, intervened, approaching his companion. Hey, if you do that, who will carry our things?" Then he turned to Quinta and Ju and warned them, "Loader, if you speak nonsense one more time, I will throw you to the magical beasts as food." Anjem also provoked, "The bastard loaders of Guri must be living too well. I have never seen a loader question us before." Don Siok put his arm over his companion's shoulder, laughing while pulling him. "He will end up running away if you keep this up," where one laughed along. "If he runs away, I will catch him anyway." The poisonous essence within Quinta and Ju became even denser. Those men were crossing all boundaries. With enough power, he began to wonder if he should simply eliminate them right there to respond to the insults. As these thoughts emerged, the group started to ingest the antidote against the 3-striped mosquito. The gentleman apologized to Kim Taeju, acknowledging that he had put him in a difficult situation. The protagonist said he didn't mind, but questioned again if they truly intended to hunt with such a small number of people. According to the gentleman, the hunting area was close to the Blade Tooth Mark region. Previously, a larger group was necessary due to the mosquitoes, but with the antidote, they no longer needed protective suits, which reduced the necessary number of members, although there was still some concern shown. The gentleman, he believed that there would not be major problems, since there were 2 mana users at the beginner level on the team, asking him not to worry. The gentleman handed a vial of the antidote to Quinta Eju, asking him to drink as well. The protagonist thanked him with a slight smile, even though he did not need the antidote, as he himself was the source of that medicine. Helping people with that antidote made him remember the fire mage. She had asked him to save more people so that no one would lose their life in vain. Taiju knew he could save many people thanks to his power, a power that was also changing who he was. After meeting that group, he had lost his composure twice, almost revealing his intention to eliminate them. The reason was likely linked to Tangun Ak, the supreme lord of poisons. Tangun Ak always tended to prioritize eliminating those he disliked instead of simply ignoring them. He had a poisonous heart, and after the soul sharing, that heart began to merge with Taiju's. This was not necessarily a bad thing, considering that he had been too weak to survive in the current world. Then, Quinta Eju made an unexpected request to the chief. Please stay close to me during the hunt. The chief was confused by this, even considering the rumors about the team they were with. He did not understand the reason and questioned whether it would not be safer to stay close to the awakened rather than another powerless carrier. The protagonist insisted, asking the chief to take him seriously. The chief, however, had no idea what was really awaiting them on that mountain. Quinta Eju had felt for some time that there was something hidden in the depths. An intense, malicious intent was directed at them. The world of Mourinho was on fire. More precisely, the Zhuge clan One Om was arrogantly walking through the air. Above the flames, as his shadow fell over an old man with a long beard who no longer wielded a weapon, only held his injured arm. The old man was the patriarch of the Jugyong clan. He shouted furiously at the man before him. "What are you doing, Tangun? Have you gone mad to dare oppose us?" The man with long black hair blowing in the wind let out a sigh. "What a shame, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or should I call you the Demon of Thunder?" In the air, surrounded by flying swords, Tangun declared, "It has already been revealed that you and your clan are conspiring with the dark cult." Jugyong desperately tried to find a justification to avoid being attacked by the blades. "We have been falsely accused. We are one of the 5 great clans. How could we do something like this?" Observing the followers of the cult persistently denying the truth, Quinta Eju threw something to the ground, something that would make Jugyong lose any argument. The old man looked at the object and began to tremble, desperately. Quinta Eju provoked him. "Shouldn't you greet your son?" Tangun then presented the accusations directly. "You have eliminated innocence and are gathering vital essence to create the dark blood pill. That is why I brought you here. Still, you insist on calling this a farce, Jugyong." The man fell silent. Tangun lightly moved his swords. "I hate people like you, those who use the weak as a shield to preserve their own lives." Jugyong trembled and begged for his life, offering to reveal everything he knew in exchange for safety. However, he ended the conversation. "That's enough. Countless members of the orthodox factions have died for no reason because of you." The swords aligned, pointing directly at Jugyong. Tangun's gaze sparkled as he gave the order. "Disappear." The swords advanced like relentless rain. With that, Jugi Cheon was eliminated. Tangunak then planned to soon eliminate the very Celestial of Darkness. Meanwhile, the group hunting with Kinta and Ju had gathered several blade tooth marks. One of the members commented, "Since we no longer have to worry about insect-proof clothing, even a group of Martas was no big deal." Anjum picked up the energy crystals and observed them greedily, mocking Quinta and Ju. "Hey, you asked earlier if we would, really go with this number of people. That answer is enough. A cowardly bastard like you will never stop being just a porter." Lord O had to contain Quinta and Ju, as the protagonist really contemplated eliminating that entire group to relieve his irritation. However, he decided to ignore the provocation. In any case, he believed that everyone there would end up being eliminated sooner or later, whether by his hands or for other reasons. The protagonist held back, as it would not be worth using the flying daggers on that group as the first target. After all, It was only thanks to his antidote that 2 beginners and 3 users with aptitude had been able to hunt a group of martas. Still, he was already wondering if that group would be able to handle what was to come. Quinta and Ju frequently watched the bushes, awaiting that which should already be lurking. He approached Chief O and warned, "It will start soon. As I said when we set out, stay close to me." The chief porter, confused, asked, "What exactly is going to start?" The protagonist replied calmly, "Nothing much. Just something known to be difficult to deal with on Mount Gyre. An attacking magical beast." At that moment, a gigantic paw with sharp claws advanced. Eyes exuding crimson energy stared at the group of hunters. As sharp fangs in an elongated mouth prepared to tear into the target, the chief loader trembled upon recognizing the approaching monster and shouted, "It's a red-furred wolf!" The protagonist tried to calm him down, assuring him that nothing would happen, and handed over his backpack for him to hold. The chief was startled by the action, believing that the correct thing to do would be to flee. The red-furred wolf was a magical beast that required at least regular level to face. Its strength was already a major issue, but the most dangerous part was that they always moved in pairs, 1 male and 1 female. Soon, the second wolf appeared, attacking one of the team members. Anjem looked back and shouted upon seeing his companion being hit. The swordsman couldn't believe they were facing 2 wolves at the same time. He tried to quickly deal with one of them, striking energy blows with his sword, but the wolf, despite its large size, was extremely agile and dodged the attacks. Surprised and desperate, the hunter called out for his captain, Don Seok. "What will we do?" "Give the orders." However, when Don Seok was already fleeing through the forest, abandoning the group, one of the huntresses ran to Anjem, overtaken by fear. "Whoa, we are in danger. There are 2 wolves." Anjem told her to be quiet and replied coldly, "We will do as always, like last time. We will use those bastard loaders as bait and flee." The protagonist heard everything but remained silent. Next to him, the chief asked him to do something, as he couldn't trust him that way. Without hesitation, Quinta and Ju took a dagger hidden in his shirt. Using the art of the flying dagger with the single attack technique, he threw it in one direction. The blade flew at high speed, narrowly grazing Wonjun and continuing to Dong Seok, lightly hitting before embedding itself in a rock. The impact on the rock made the surrounding trees tremble with the roar. The loader was surprised by Taiju's action. The protagonist then looked to the other side and declared, "Have you abandoned the team you were supposed to protect? And the others are offering the weakest, us loaders, as bait?" The fury that Quinta and Ju had been suppressing finally overflowed. The venomous essence emanated from his body as he declared, "I hate guys like you more than anything, those who trample the weak, and use them as shields just to survive." With the impact of the previous attack, Dong-suk had fallen to the ground. Wonjun, in turn, had been grazed on the ear. It was then that Dong-seok noticed something even more frightening. One of the wolves had already been defeated, and he didn't even know when it happened. The chief looked at Taiju, stuttering, "Mr. Kim, I don't want to say Mr. Taiju, how did you defeat the wolf in a single attack?" The second wolf approached, sniffing its partner's body, and soon directed a fierce glance at the protagonist, growling low. Quinta and Ju stepped forward, enveloped in an intense, venomous aura. "Shut up. I'm really not in a good mood. If I need to take one more step, you won't leave here." The wolf hesitated. The presence of that human was too overwhelming to confront. Taiju's gaze then turned to Dong Seok's group, and he coldly questioned, "Let me ask something. Do you do this all the time? When things get dangerous, do you abandon the weakest and run away?" One, still arrogant, replied without hesitation, "So what? If we do this, it's natural for those weak to die for the awakened." The protagonist closed his eyes for a moment, letting out a faint sigh before making his decision. "Since that's the case, you should experience this too." In the blink of an eye, Quinta and Ju disappeared from where he was. Rising atop an elevation, he gave the order, "Fight." Don Seok and Wonjun were shocked to hear that. Sitting on the edge of the ravine, Taiju continued, "I have already dealt with one of them for you. Now take care of the rest." Holding his injured ear, Don Seok shouted indignantly, "What kind of absurdity is this? Do you think you can do this and get away with it after messing with the awakened?" One of the group members, clearly weaker, begged, "Please, defeat the monster for us. We will pay you." "Well, you are strong enough." Proud, Dong Jiak did not allow it and told her to be quiet. At that moment, an arrow passed by the side of his other ear. Startled, he fell to the ground. The protagonist declared, visibly irritated, "Since you can't understand when someone speaks, maybe you don't need your ears." From above, he reinforced, "I will say it again. I am a carrier, and you are the fighters. Where did all that confidence you showed against the marks go?" The remaining wolf, now without a previous target, began to approach Don Seok, observing everything from above. Quinta and Ju concluded coldly, "You all fight." Hearing someone order them to face the giant wolf, Juan refused. "Do you think we will follow what you say?" However, from the height where he was, Quinta and Ju realized that the creature itself already intended to force them to fight, regardless of their will. One gripped his sword with both hands, cursing Taiju, but before he could attack, the huge paw of the beast hit him directly in the face. His body remained standing for a brief moment while the struck portion was tossed away like a leaf in the wind. Seeing his partner fall, Don Seok shouted furiously, "I will finish you, you bastard!" However, before he could act, the wolf's fangs reached him. With a single attack, the red-furred wolf took down another hunter. The rest of the team fell into despair and tried to escape immediately, but the beast was faster. In the blink of an eye, it reached one of the members. The young huntress looked back with fear in her eyes, but met the same fate as Dong Seok. The creature's eyes glowed red, searching for the next target. Mr. O fell into despair upon realizing he was next. "Mr. Kim, the creature is coming for me." Noticing that the wolf would keep advancing, the protagonist clicked his tongue, annoyed. "If it had left, I would have spared it, but it seems confident after taking down the others." With no choice, he leaped from the cliff and gathered the poisonous essence in the palm of his hand. The attack descended upon the wolf, using the poison palm technique from the blood seal. The impact consumed everything around, hitting trees and rocks, and the resulting explosion lifted a pillar of energy that expanded into the sky. Chief O was completely astonished by the scene. He believed Taiju did not even possess an affinity for mana, but what he saw was the opposite. A thought crossed his mind. Was it not the mage who defeated the orcs this time, but Mr. Kim? He said it was her, so he lied to conceal his powers. Seeing Taiju walking calmly towards him, Mr. O felt anxious. If this is his power, what will he do to me? Before Taiju could even ask if he was okay, Chief O threw himself to the ground and pleaded, "Mr. Kim, please spare me." The protagonist scratched his head awkwardly. "Why would I do anything against you, Chief?" Mr. O was confused but also relieved. He quickly got up when Taiju asked, responding firmly when questioned about injuries. "I'm not, and even if I were, I would find a way." Relieved by the answer, Taiju then asked if he could ask a favor. The gentleman, he showed himself ready to meet any request with a meaningful look. "Fifth," Eiju began, "what did you just see today?" Before he could finish, the gentleman quickly responded, "But what happened today? I didn't see anything." They understood each other and began the return to the city, the bodies of the group of maidens left behind. Taiju imagined that the creatures of the region would take care of that. After all, it hadn't been him who had eliminated them directly, and therefore he felt no guilt in leaving that dangerous situation behind. The protagonist made a silent vow, "Whether as Tangunak or as myself, I will end those who use the weak as a shield merely to survive. They are all despicable, just like the Jude clan." Inside Guri Castle, there was a large modern building that served as a pharmaceutical headquarters. In a meeting room, an irritated man was banging on the table while saying, "Does this make any sense? Our sales have dropped by half. Damn Kim Tae-ju and the Beck Pharmacy." He continued blaming them since they started selling the antidote. "People only go to Beck Pharmacy and buy other medicines while they are there. We are out of customers here. We should have put that little pharmacy out of business a long time ago." Onambak, the president of Segi Pyong Drugstore, a man with a short beard and black hair, replied, "Do you think we don't know about the 200 pharmacies in Guri? We own 70% and Cheonwang Bio has the rest. Beck Pharmacy is the only one that no one has managed to take. You know the reason, don't you?" The man he was talking to, Lee Gil-ho, president of Nuri Drugstores in Guri, was showing irritation. "That committee prevented us from acting because Beck Hongpyo helps orphaned children. Reputation? We are tied hands." Nambok asked him to stop complaining and present a solution. As the two began to argue, a tall man with gray hair intervened to calm them down. "Please, why do you argue at every meeting?" It was the representative of pharmacies, YJ Jo-hun Seok, with a smile that concealed his intentions. He continued, "Let's stop beating around the bush and share our progress. Aren't we all in the same boat? We at YJ have failed." Lee Gil-ho and Nambok revealed that they had also failed to create a generic version of the drug. Upon hearing them, Hunsok added that the biochemist Cheon Wang had also failed. Still, Nambok remained confident that they would succeed soon. It was just a matter of time. However, Lee Gil-ho was not so sure and believed they might face great difficulties. Jo Hun-seok smiled slightly. Well, we have no choice. I am worried about the committee, but let's act in our usual way. After so long, Lee Gil-ho understood and replied with a smile. That is what I wanted to hear. The investigation is already concluded, right? Confirming, Hun-seok pressed a button displaying the information of the person responsible for the drug. Kim Tae-ju, 29 years old, the eldest son of Brigadier General Kim Won-bang from the territory of Paju, discharged from military service as an officer. Nambok showed concern, imagining they might be dealing with someone untouchable, as the general was a great master. However, Jo Hun-seok reassured him, as there were more details. According to the information obtained in Paju, the father was a master, but the son was considered incompatible with mana. It was also revealed that he enlisted in the army after being kicked out of his home. His biological mother was no longer alive, and the current wife of General Honda Mitsui had 2 children and apparently did not look favorably upon the existence of Kim Tae-ju. Lee Gil-ho understood the situation, so he cut contact with the family, right? This gave even more confidence to Jo Hun-seok. I'm thinking about meeting him personally, regardless of the agreement with Baek Hong-pyu. If we offer more, we can secure the distribution rights. The man's eyes narrowed as he continued. If he refuses, we will follow our usual methods. It has been a while since the last time. Late afternoon was approaching at the Magical Beast Defense Unit of the Imperial Army on Mount Gear, within the Samhan Empire. Someone knocked on the commander's office door and received permission to enter. The officer entered, saluted, and was immediately questioned. Did you find what you asked for? The man confirmed and delivered a folder. Yes, we received the information from the Guri Committee. Kim Tae-ju, 29 years old, from Paju, was discharged as an officer from the Seorak Mountain Unit and is considered incompatible with mana. The commander analyzed the data, remembering having heard of the general's son before. Upon opening the document, he commented, "When the military previously requested a supply contract, we were refused due to a lack of stock because of the imperial decree. It is difficult to interfere in Guri, so we gave up. Fortunately, as he is the son of Brigadier General Kim and has military experience, this can be resolved without difficulties." He began to consider that if they could secure the supply of the antidote, it would be possible to carry out a large-scale operation before the next wave of creatures on Mount Geir. Thinking about the father-son relationship, the commander concluded, as long as he is not a deserter, the supply will be virtually guaranteed. Without hesitation, he gave the order, "Contact the Paju territory immediately. Tell them that I, Jin Hyung, wish to speak with Brigadier General Kim." It was already the next day. In the Paju territory, everything was going smoothly until a call was received. After the conversation with Jin Hyung, a woman present in Commander Kim's office commented, "Even an insect has its value, as they say. When did our Taiju learn all this? His body was so weak that we couldn't even send him to college." With an interested look, she was already grabbing her cell phone, planning to buy train tickets for the girl immediately. Taiju has little social experience, and now that he has a lot of money, he might end up being deceived. Commander Kim, however, wanted something else. "Leave him alone!" The aura around him seemed heavy as he spoke. Honda Mitsui placed her hands on her hips, questioning what her husband meant by that. "King Wang Bang," she repeated firmly. "Let's leave him alone. He has already been removed from our family register and has gone his own way." The woman smiled, hiding her irritation, while trying to persuade him. "Oh, come on. The family register is one thing, but is it really so simple to break a blood bond? We need to help him." The general closed the matter directly. "That's enough. If you still have any conscience..." Mitsui was startled, as those words seemed to indicate that Wang Bang knew something she had done against Taiju. Shaking slightly, she thought to herself, "It doesn't matter if he knows. Young Indong is no longer alive. There is no evidence." Even irritated, she insisted, "Then at least call him. Tell him to provide the antidote to the military. They said that if you convince him, they will help with your promotion." Slamming her hand on the table, she tried to pressure him. "How long do you think Kyucho will continue supporting Paju? They are also facing difficulties. The expenses for Taipyeong and Taichon are increasing, and their future Taiju is her only son." The general made his final decision. He would not intervene, as he knew he had already distanced himself from his son. "If you want, go and talk to him yourself. I have made my thoughts clear." Mitsui bit her lips. holding back her fury. Regaining her composure, she turned to leave and said, "Do what you want. I will do it my way." When leaving the room, she slammed the door hard. Hung Bang sighed as he was left alone. Since they had no contact for months, he had come to think that his son was no longer alive, but now he knew he was living well in Guri, following his own path. This at least brought him some relief. The market in Guri remained bustling as always. At the Flame Boutique, specializing in clothing, several suits were displayed in the window. Inside the store, the owner was adjusting a coat on her customer. Her calm gaze analyzed every detail as she said, "As expected, it looks perfect on you." Quinta and Ju thanked her. Coat made with materials from magical creatures is truly different. It is lightweight, yet still offers protection and even temperature control. He was impressed with all the features of the new piece. He particularly liked the gray color, less flashy, just as he had requested. Additionally, he was pleased with the inner pockets she had prepared, where he was already storing some daggers. The mage commented with curiosity, "I thought about this while making the adjustments, but seeing how many weapons you carry, you must be awakened focused on combat, right?" The protagonist partially confirmed, placing his hand in the coat to get his wallet. He explained that he could not accept such a valuable gift without paying. She insisted that he accept the coat as a gift, but Taiju did not agree. That material had been reserved for another customer, and he did not want to put her in a difficult situation. Remembering the other customer, the mage reassured him. If it's Miss Johnny-on, it's all fine. I arranged another item for Taiju." She thought for a moment and pointed to a shelf. Then, "Sell me everything that's there." The mage was surprised by the request, taking out a black card. He explained that it would be a gift for the children at the orphanage, and that it would also help her sales. Sounds like a good idea, right? In light of the insistence, she agreed, and asked him to wait while she wrapped the items for Taiju. She was very different from the other Awakens he had met. At that moment, the boutique's door opened. A tall man entered and approached. "So, you are here, Mr. Kim? I've been looking for you for a while," introduced Joe Runsiok, CEO of pharmaceutical company IQJ, showing his business card. The protagonist looked at the card with suspicion. Noticing the reaction, the man put the card away and apologized for the discomfort. Taiju put his hands in his pockets and directly asked what he wanted and how he had managed to find him. With a calculated smile, Joe Runsiok replied, "There's not much the Pharmaceutical Association doesn't know." Getting straight to the point, his expression became more serious. "I would like to ask a favor. Sell the supply of antidotes to us as well." With a slight sigh, Taiju questioned whether that was a request or pressure. The man calmly responded, "For now, it's a request." Taiju immediately declined. The businessman tried to negotiate, offering to cover the contractual fine and pay 3 times the value of the products sold at Beck Pharmacy. Still, Taiju maintained his stance. "No, thank you. I don't want to become someone who can't be trusted." Hunseok insisted once more, asking for at least the formula of the medicine and offering 5 billion for it. Taiju replied with irony, "If I were in your place, I would sell for so little." The man gritted his teeth, annoyed. "You really don't understand. It's going to be hard to grow up like this." The protagonist remained unfazed. "Don't worry, I can take care of myself. Have a good trip." When the sorceress returned, she asked if anyone had been outside recently. Jo Hun-seok, visibly irritated, picked up his phone and made a call. "Start the operation. Do as usual." Around Guri, the construction of Kim Taeju's mansion was already underway. Carrying several bags, he greeted Chief Bayek with a smile. The pharmacist, holding a blueprint, asked what he had brought. Thanking him for his constant help, Taeju presented the packages. "I brought some clothes for the kids." The man got emotional, with watery eyes, holding back tears, and promised that he would never forget that gesture. Taeju scratched the back of his neck a bit awkwardly, but was pleased to see the reaction. Observing the construction around, he noticed that everything was progressing well. Remembering something, he commented, "I think I'm going to accept the proposal you made to me earlier." Chief Baek asked if he had finally made up his mind. Taeju confirmed, explaining that the meeting with the businessman had been decisive for his choice. Upon hearing the name Jo Hun-seok, Chief Bayek was surprised and asked, concerned, if something had happened. The protagonist denied it, mentioning only the pressure he had received. That made him remember once again how powerless people were treated. "Then I will open a pharmaceutical company as you suggested. Please continue helping me," revealing his plans. He asked Chief Bayek to continue being responsible for the construction, as he would be away for a while. Curious, the man asked if he intended to go far away. The protagonist denied it, simply explaining that while the company was being set up, he would focus on developing new medications. The art of the venomous spirit of shaped pants, the exclusive martial art created by Dang Gunak, is the strongest in the world of martial arts. It combines the basic mental cultivation method of the Dang clan, the cultivation of ki from the 5 elements, water, fire, wood, metal, and earth, along with the understanding of various martial arts, totaling 10 stars. After the 10th star, it is necessary to awaken the venomous spirit through enlightenment, and only those who reach this stage can use the secret technique Torrential Rain of 10,000 Petals, just like Tangunak, who defeated the celestial demon, ruler of the demon cult, with his venomous hands. Everything seemed peaceful in the magic beast zone of Mount Gyre, until a pillar of energy exploded towards the heavens. A man wearing a long coat jumped onto a beast with sharp claws and long ears. Releasing an intense venomous energy, he attacked the monster, which was several times larger than him. With a single movement, he pierced the creature's body and landed on the ground while the enemy was still falling. Quinta Aju eliminated another monster. He observed the result and sighed after an attack that hardly required effort. They call this beast a venomous claw lynx, but it is as large as a tiger. The skin is tough, but my weapons and internal energy are sufficient. Currently, Quinta Aju was at the 3rd star of the art of the venomous spirit, at a level equivalent to a martial artist between the 2nd and 1st category of Diangu. It was still a relatively low level, so he continued training on Mount Dire, absorbing poisons from magical creatures. When he opened the body of the lynx, he found a large poison pouch with the knowledge left by Dangunak. This cultivation process was like a review, as I had already understood the fundamentals. It was enough to keep absorbing new poisons to evolve rapidly. For a time, his body had been unable to withstand these toxins, which kept him stuck at the 3rd star. Now, however, his condition had stabilized, and advancing to the next stage no longer seemed impossible. Quinta Aju intended to absorb the poison from the venomous water deer, his next target to reach the 4th star. Suddenly, he remembered something and started to search for his throwing dagger on the lynx's body. As they were expensive, he wanted to recover as many as possible after using them. The venomous water deer with spores was a docile and non-hostile magical beast, with 2 humps on its back, similar to those of a camel. The protagonist quickly advanced upon finding it. The danger of this creature lay in the fact that, when attacked, its humps exploded, releasing a powerful toxin in the form of spores. Quinta Aju observed small spheres of poison floating in the air. Upon touching one, he reflected, could this be the poison said to melt gas mask filters? It takes a whole hour to dissipate. When touched, the sphere dissolved and was absorbed by his body. As he had heard, it was one of the most potent poisons available, and he would not let such a resource go to waste. Moving quickly, he extended his hand, creating a strong suction force in his palm. All the toxins around began to be drawn toward him and absorbed by his body. He had to concentrate deeply not to collapse, condensing and controlling the venomous energy while assimilating it, using the art of venomous spirit to convert that toxin into internal energy. He sought to advance to the 4th star with his eyes closed. The 5th Iju felt time passing. He no longer knew how many hours had passed while he circulated. Within his own body, he had absorbed all the poison present, but the quantity was so large that converting it was not simple. In the midst of the process, he thought, have I gone too far? Still, as he perfectly understood the properties of the poison, developing an antidote seemed like a simple task. Besides the poison from the water servant, that world had even more varied toxins than the martial world, and he intended to use this to strengthen himself quickly. He did not want to be weak, like before. With determination, Taeju condensed a core of toxins within himself, finally reaching the 4th star. He felt the energy overflow throughout his body. As he stood up, he stretched lightly. He had spent so much time on Gyre Mountain that the sun was already setting behind the mountains. In addition to reaching the 4th star, he had also discovered the ingredients needed to create the antidote for the poisonous spore servant. With that, he questioned whether it was time to return. His staying away for too long made him restless, especially because of the pharmaceutical company J. It was already night when Taeju returned to Mr. Beck's pharmacy. He placed his backpack on the ground and started looking for the owner, finding him at the back of the store with the saleswoman. Observing the environment, he commented, "Since there are no items left, business must be going very well." Upon seeing him, Mr. Beck showed relief but also concern, revealing that he had not been able to contact him for half a month. The saleswoman also greeted him. Taeju apologized for having turned off his phone during training, explaining that he was focused on developing a new antidote. However, noticing the strange atmosphere, he asked if something had happened. The store was practically empty, with only boxes left. Mr. Beck explained that representatives from a pharmaceutical company had appeared, claiming they would no longer supply the product. And taking everything away with a worried expression, he added, "Moreover, today, the Drug Approval Department of the Autonomy Committee requested the list of ingredients to investigate possible side effects of the antidote." Quinta Eju immediately suspected that this was the work of Jun Seok. Mr. Bayek was not absolutely certain, but he recognized the pattern. It was the same method he used to employ, and furthermore, he was also part of the committee. Tai Ju then asked what would happen if they did not submit the list. According to Mr. Beck, they could face a sales ban. The protagonist considered the situation, questioning whether the Empire's representative was also ignoring this. The problem was that this was probably just the beginning. People like Joe Runsiak always went beyond expectations, just as had happened with Jugi Cheon. However, this time there would be no room for hesitation. Making his decision, Quinta Eju declared, "Let's act first. If they're going to pressure us, then let's respond for real." Chief Bayek was confused by these words. The protagonist then explained, "Yes, they say our antidote causes side effects, right? Then we shouldn't sell it. Let's close the shop right now." The main gate of the Bayek orphanage was closed, and inside, it was possible to see a light smoke rising. It came from a barbecue taking place on the premises. Several children were gathered with Mr. Bayek, sitting at an improvised table on the nearby soccer field. A large piece of meat was being grilled over a campfire. Upon tasting the meat, Taeju was almost surprised by the flavor. The venison was so tender that it seemed to melt in his mouth. He had never imagined that this would be the taste of venison, which was considered the finest meat in the empire. As there was no known method to remove the poison, rumors spread that the emperor had monopolized the rare carcasses discovered, making it impossible to acquire them for any amount of money. Upon tasting that flavor, Quinta and Ju felt extremely satisfied that he had chosen to develop the antidote for the servant first. Initially, his intention was merely to avoid losses caused by the venom of the water servant during outbreaks of magical beasts. But with a flavor like that, anyone who tasted the meat would inevitably want more. Everyone at the table enjoyed the meal, and he even considered the possibility of starting a business with deer meat. He also contemplated supplying it to the emperor, known for his obsession, and even taking a look at his fencing, reputed to be of grandmaster level. Mr. Beck cleared his throat, catching everyone's attention, and thanked Kim Taeju for the valuable meat. He never imagined that the new medication would be precisely the antidote for the poisonous water servant. Nevertheless, he expressed concern and asked if they would really be all right, closing the store without responding to the pressure they were under. Continuing to eat calmly, Quinta and Ju replied, "Trust me, we will see who will regret it more if we do not sell the antidote." A few days later, when he went to the Bike Park Insu pharmacy, he was surprised. It had been days, and they still had not opened. The warrior had only a few vials left, and wondered how he would continue hunting when they ran out. Nearby, a pair of hunters commented, "It seems the rumors are true. The antidote has side effects. Some people got sick after taking it, so the Autonomy Committee demanded that the formula be disclosed." Mr. Beck could not withstand the pressure and closed the store. Park Jinsu became irritated upon hearing this, as he knew it was a lie. He himself was proof that the antidote worked. About to confront those spreading the rumors, he was interrupted by a drawn sword. Lee Jung-hak held the weapon to stop him. "Enough! I will not tolerate any chaos here." Upon seeing the vice captain of the surveillance group, rumors began to emerge that they were involved with the pharmaceutical YJ. The man in the black coat declared, "This is a decision from the permanent committee due to the alleged side effects of the antidote from Bayek Pharmacy. Sales are suspended until the formula analysis is completed, so all of you disperse. Do not stay here causing disorder." Park Insu immediately protested, "This is absurd. I participated in the tests and I am perfectly fine. How are we supposed to hunt without the antidote? Do you want us to go back to wearing insect-repellent clothing?" People supported Jinsu's words, and the agitation in the area increased along with the complaints. Irritated, Lee Jung-hak sighed slightly, and his imposing gaze fell upon everyone there. "Since when did this kind of people start questioning my words?" He let out a longer sigh, clearly bothered, and ordered everyone to disperse. Internally, he complained, "That damn administrative staff forcing me to deal with these annoying tasks. If it weren't for the majority's decision." Gradually, people began to leave, but Park In-soo remained. Realizing someone was still there, Lee Jung-hak brought his hand to the sword and threatened, "You there, Seems like you think my words are a joke. Do you really believe you have the strength to uphold this in the face of the threat? Park In-soo eventually retreated hastily, fleeing with the shield on his back securing the sword, and Lee Jung-hak continued to complain. What a nuisance. Why do I have to deal with this? I don't care who sells the medicine, but I will have to deal with that guy Jo Run-seok soon. On the same street, a luxury sedan was parked. Inside it, Jo Run-seok himself was on the phone with someone like Lee Jung-hak about control. I, Jo Run-seok, am impressed. The administrative officer on the other end of the line. A voice calmly responded, even being a master, he is still just one of the 3 permanent members of the committee. As long as President Mim and I are here, he cannot go against the majority's decision. All he needs to do is maintain public order, as he is already doing. The person on the phone had a clear condition. As long as no life was at risk, President Mim would not interfere. Hun Seok showed satisfaction. As you said, administrative officer, as long as the master remains quiet, this will be resolved soon. He then added, we have already started the next phase. You will be well rewarded. They won't last even a week unless money falls from the sky. Meanwhile, a meeting was taking place in General Orjin Hyung's office, sitting in his armchair. The general showed interest. Quinta and Ju were in front of him, confirming an agreement. They would sell 1 million vials to the defense body against magical beasts from Mount Dire. The price would remain at 50,000 each, totaling 50 billion. Upon hearing the amount, the general remained silent for a moment, slightly frowning. Taiju became worried, wondering if he might have gotten upset for not offering a military discount. The officer present in the room tried to reassure him. The commander seems to be in a good mood. Jin Hyung then spoke. Are you sure about this? You will probably have little profit selling at that price. The protagonist was surprised, as he was expecting exactly the opposite. Then, the general asked the aide if it would be possible to cover the amount with the military reserve fund. Upon receiving a positive response, he ordered, deposit half as an advance immediately. Before this could be done, Kim Tae-ju interrupted him, stating that he had another product to offer. The general showed surprise. Aren't you just selling the antidote for mosquito venom? Taiju explained that he intended to start his own company soon, and therefore would bring new products besides the medication. He pulled out a package and revealed a piece of freshly roasted meat. While the general was having tea, Taiju served the meat. Jim Hyung was surprised, as he did not expect that. Being presented as a new product, he still found it interesting since he had been reducing his consumption of red meat for health reasons. Tae-ju then explained, you should present this meat to the emperor. He will certainly appreciate it. It is the meat of the water venom servant. The general's assistant widened his eyes. Are you talking about that servant whose meat is said to have an exceptional flavor, with juices flowing like a fountain? Taiju nodded, observing his actions. The commander began to evaluate him more closely, and then proposed, I had been thinking about this, but you are a hard young man to find. Nowadays, the armed forces need people like you. What do you think? Are you considering enlisting again? The Defense Corps of Magical Beasts of Mount Giri was located in the outermost region, even within the Samhan Empire. Its mission was to control the waves of magical beasts and maintain the balance of the population of these creatures. Jin Hyung had gone into despair when he was appointed commander of that area. Anyone in his position would feel the same. Even if he managed to contain the beasts at the border, that would be just the bare minimum expected. If he failed, all the responsibility would fall on him. However, finally, an opportunity had arisen. Now he was also considering the impact of the antidote for the water servant. An officer entered his office and announced, the payment has been transferred. And the matter that you instructed us about has also been concluded. Then, it confirmed exactly as you predicted. Commander, the reason they started negotiating with us is related to the conflict with the Pharmaceutical Association led by Jo Hung-seok. As for the daily newspaper, the exclusive report on the antidote contract and the hunt for the water servant will be published tomorrow. Jin Hyung praised the adjutant for the work and asked him to continue monitoring Thursday and assist him, whenever necessary, showing his appreciation. He stated, you have worked hard helping me, even without connections. The officer was almost moved to hear that, having gone through hardships until then. Jin Hyung raised his voice at the adjutant. The officer promptly replied, yes, yes, Commander. The general then hugged him and declared, let's seize this opportunity and move forward to the imperial family. Even surprised by the gesture, the adjutant responded with determination, yes, I understand, I trust you, and I will follow you. The shout of both echoed through the building, catching the attention of those passing through the corridors. In the outskirts of Guri City, Kim Taiju's residence had been completed. The 5-story building was located in an area with a garden and a beautiful view. On one of the floors, Taeju was meeting with Mr. Beck. The experienced entrepreneur explained that the company was practically ready. It just needed a name, and he would take care of the rest. One of the factors that facilitated the process was the contract with the military. Fortunately, the agreement was successfully concluded, and the Lieutenant General even prepared the ground for us, saving effort. He also discreetly publicized our contract and the development of the new medication as an exclusive. As expected, he did not reach the position of commander by chance. The protagonist observed the newspaper with the report as he placed it on the table. He stated that we turned the situation to our favor. Then he asked, "You settled the loan with the down payment, right?" Mr. Beck confirmed that with the 25 billion wons received, all debts had been paid. He also revealed that out of resentment, he severed ties with the bank and closed his accounts. Taiju then asked that the remaining money be used to care for the orphanage. After everything that had happened, Kim Taiju acknowledged that he would not be able to run the company alone. He needed someone trustworthy by his side. Therefore, he made the proposal. "Mr. Beck, would you like to be my business partner?" The middle-aged man was surprised. Until then, he had only managed a small pharmacy and did not believe he could contribute much. However, Taiju was even more limited in that aspect. "I only know how to produce the medications. I don't know how to market them. I won't be able to do it without your help." Mr. Beck chuckled lightly, touched by the young man's confidence. He had received a lot of help from Taiju and never imagined he would be invited to collaborate in this way. Accepting the proposal, he asked how the profits would be divided, saying he would be satisfied with just 10%. However, Taiju, knowing that he managed the orphanage, wanted to offer a better share and proposed 30% to Mr. Beck. Mr. Beck thanked him, but revealed that he was just the owner of a pharmacy and had always relied on someone else to manage the business. He explained, "You've seen her once in front of the orphanage's vault, right? Baek Seoyeon." Mr. Baek pointed out that she was the smartest among all his children and asked if he should call her immediately. Baek Seoyeon had taken care of orphans for over 20 years until they integrated into society and possessed various qualities that made her exceptional. With a slight smile, Kim Taiju agreed. "A more capable person is even more welcome." The two shook hands, sealing the agreement. Then, the protagonist revealed that he had already thought of a name for the company. Tai from Taiju Hong, from Hong Pu. Register as Tai Hong Pu. Mr. Beck Hong Pu accepted without caring about having his name involved and said he would register it immediately. With that settled, he added, "Ah, right. I called the Awakened and those compatible with mana who grew up in our orphanage." Taiju was surprised and asked why that had been done so suddenly. Mr. Beck explained that Jo Hun Seok was the type of person who resorted to force, which is why he had called those young people to act as fifth-rate bodyguards. And Ju, the protagonist, did not believe he needed protection. He asked that they be assigned to protect the orphanage. Instead, even so, Mr. Beck remained worried. Since Taiju did not have a visible mark on his face, he was not considered an awakened, at most someone compatible with mana. Remembering that the young man had said he was a former soldier, Mr. Beck wondered if he relied solely on those skills. Noticing the concern, Taiju commented, "You seem to not trust me. Again, we haven't built enough trust yet." The man quickly denied it. At the end of the conversation, the protagonist grabbed his trench coat and declared, "Let me clarify this once and for all. Please call everyone right now." Mr. Beck, still confused, asked the reason, and Taiju explained, "I want to prove my skills and test the antidote to the poison. I will go out for a little hunt with them." With a confident smile, he got ready. Shortly after, Quinta and Ju and the Awakened headed to the border area of Mount Gear, where magical beasts emerged. The protagonist walked ahead. Being followed by several people, one of them noticed everything he was wearing and commented, "That is the Illusion Fox leather coat that costs over 4 billion won. It's impressive." Although Taiju's gear was of the highest level, it did not have a visible brand, which led the man to assume that he was just a mana-adapted porter, or even an ordinary civilian. Advancing beyond that point would be dangerous. The man tried to stop him, saying, "Mr. Fifth, Taiju, from here on, magical beasts will start to appear. I will take the lead. Our father expressly asked that we protect you, Chief." The young man, worried, was Baek Chang-hun, a rank user awakened and swordsman. The protagonist calmly corrected him, "Just call me older brother." Chang-hun felt a bit uncomfortable as he imagined Taiju to be over 30 years old. Adjusting his way of speaking, he asked, "Please stay behind me. Even though this coat has high defense, it might restrict your movements during combat, and as any awakened, My ability to react to danger is better than yours, Hyungnim. The protagonist stared at him in silence, which made Chang-hun realize that he might have been disrespectful. He quickly apologized for the words that might have caused discomfort. Taiju reassured him, saying that he was already used to this kind of situation. Then, he began to observe the surroundings carefully, while rummaging through the inner pockets of the overcoat. Let's talk about this after we deal with that first. Chang-hun was confused, not understanding what he was referring to. It was then that dozens of monsters appeared around them. The wave of beasts was so great that their shadows covered the group. Baek Chang-hun, who was further ahead, was the first to react. In desperation, Martas of the Storm, the creature with 4 red eyes, leaped towards him, hunting in a group. Several of them advanced at the same time, surrounding them. Quickly, Baek Chang-hun prepared to draw his sword, while the other brother pulled out his weapon. However, with the markings so close, Chang-hun realized he wouldn't be able to react in time. His body trembled, gripped by fear. At that moment, Quinta and Ju slightly leaned forward, and, from within the overcoat, pulled out several nails, positioning each between his fingers. He threw them in the direction of the beasts, utilizing the explosion technique. The projectiles moved at an astonishing speed. Baek Chang-hun was completely surprised to see the attack. Individually, the blows were not extremely powerful, but since they were fired in groups of more than 20, the beasts were hit repeatedly, with no chance to react. The magical creatures, which even common awakened ones could not easily face, were eliminated in an instant before his eyes. After clearing the first group, the protagonist simply shook his hands as if nothing had happened. In front of a swarm of storm martas, he didn't even need to resort to his reusable daggers. Quinta and Ju could not face Lord Baek if any of his children were harmed. Therefore, to quickly eliminate the threats, he had prepared hidden weapons from the gang clan, such as pearflower needles, torrential rain, and iron nails. The problem was that, in large-scale attacks, more than 200 of these weapons were lost at once. Upon realizing how much he had used, Taiju even wondered how much money he had just spent in that single moment. Whenever this happened, he felt even more desire to reach the 7th star of the poison spirit art. Baek Chang-hun approached again, reflecting aloud. I heard that masters can choose their facial markings. You are at that level. There is no other explanation. The protagonist replied that he was not an awakened one. And changing the subject, he stated that he would take the lead. From then on, Tiangram tried to stop him, reminding him of his father's instructions. He broke away, but Taiju moved ahead, while the young man grew increasingly intrigued by his true identity. The group advanced further into the forest until they encountered a servant with humps similar to those of a camel. The small creature, seemingly harmless, noticed their presence but did not flee, continuing to feed calmly. Chang-hun asked, what Taiju intended to do upon seeing the venomous water servant. The protagonist smiled as he observed the animal's behavior. He knew it was dangerous and recognized that people avoided approaching it due to the poison. He then instructed the whole group to drink the antidote, explaining that all would be exposed to the toxin. The group was surprised by the order, somewhat apprehensive. Chang-hun recalled that the antidote for the servant was still in the testing phase, and wondered if they could really trust it. Still, he decided to trust. After all, they were on the same side as Lord Hanpyo. After witnessing the power of Kim Taeju, he resolved to demonstrate his own determination. Chang-hun drank the entire contents of the vial without hesitation. Taking the initiative, he advanced first and asked his brother to provide cover with the mana pistol. Firmly gripping his sword, he prepared to attack. The servant sensed the threat and went on alert, letting out a deafening scream that made everyone cover their ears. Even so, Chang-hun held firm and charged, leaping toward the target. Raising his sword, he delivered a powerful downward strike capable of splitting the enemy in half. The servant fell to the ground, defeated. One of the Baek sisters immediately yelled, "The poison will be released, be careful!" From the creature's back, the 2 humps exploded, scattering various bubbles of poison into the air. Quinto and Ju watched the particles disperse. At first, he wasn't sure the group would trust him, but now it seemed everything was working as expected. Chang-hun brought his hand to his face, instinctively trying to protect himself. But when he realized he had ingested the antidote, the Taiju began to trust him. The rest of the group, who had also taken the antidote, showed that everyone was fine. Chang-hun let out a sigh of relief. The antidote really worked. The protagonist approached and asked, "Now do you trust me? With an antidote, hunting this servant becomes simple. Without the poison, they lose their biggest advantage." The entire orphanage group cheerfully thanked Quinto and Ju and apologized for not trusting him from the start. Heading toward the forest, the protagonist declared, "If there are no problems, let's continue the hunt." Before they moved on, he added, "You know how to prepare the meat, right? Prioritize the water servant. When the antidote is released, this creature might disappear quickly." Meanwhile, in the Empire's capital, Samhan Nova, the headquarters of the Miranai group, caught attention. In an office, a man addressed a staff member. Manager Baek Seoyun, manager of the Planning and Strategy Department, responded to the call of Vice Leader Jong Ju-hak, deputy department head. He got straight to the point. "I'll be direct. You grew up in Mr. Bayek's orphanage, didn't you? Under Bayek Hong Pil's care?" Confused upon hearing her father's name, Baek Seoyun asked what this was about. After confirming the information, the man smiled discreetly and ordered, "Stop all ongoing projects." The young woman didn't understand the reason for the decision, so Hak explained, "Go to Guri and do a job for me. I'm counting on you." Approaching the maid, the Hak showed her a newspaper. "Didn't you see the news about the new company Tai Hong?" Wondering why the boss was acting strangely, she followed his line of reasoning. "Are you talking about the company that created the antidote for the water poison?" "Yes, I read the news." The Hak became more aggressive in his questioning, asking why she pretended not to know, since rumors said that Bayek's drugstore was a subsidiary of the Tai Hong Biology Company. The frail Mr. Oyan stated that he had never heard of anything like that. The Hak did not care and ordered her, "Anyway, go to the girl right now and stay close to your father. Find out information about the antidote, secure the formula. Also, you know who I serve, right?" He tried to bribe her. "If you can do this properly, things will change for the better for you too." Seeing the man trying to make her betray her own father, Mr. Oyan was about to give him a fitting response when he was interrupted by a call. Mr. Beck was the one calling her. Seoyun asked permission from Duhak to answer the call. He told her to decide quickly. After the call, Seoyun did not hear what her father had to say while the manager waited for her beside him. A slight smile appeared on the young woman's face as she ended the call. "I understand, Dad. Take care of yourself." Seeing how long the call took, Jean Girac demanded an answer. Seoyun stood up, warning, "Yes, I will go." The girl, Jo Hak, was quite excited about the news. He wanted to discuss the details with her immediately, but Mr. Oyan snatched his badge and threw it at him. "I am going there, but it is because I am leaving this cursed company." With a smile on her face, she resigned. Mr. Oyan passed by the manager while mocking. "It was quite annoying how you always look down on people, despite being so short, instead of worrying about antidotes. Perhaps you should be concerned about baldness medication." Being mocked by the maid, Jiraki became furious, but in response, he only received a middle finger. In Building 5, Iju, even late at night, a group was still taking care of the stock. The protagonist congratulated everyone on the work and received the same treatment from Baek Chang-hun. The protagonist then asked them to return to the orphanage to rest. He would take care of the rest himself. Chan Rum became worried as their father had told them to escort Quinta. Eju, crossing his arms and exhaling a slight sigh, the protagonist asked if he really thought it was necessary. It was much better for the hunter to be protecting the director and the children instead of this. Chang E-hum obeyed Quinta Eju's command and called the others to leave. However, Quinta Eju knew that the orphanage would be safe. No one would dare touch the only orphanage in Gurie, provoking the fury of the citizens. However, there were still many crazy bastards in the world, especially in Guri. That is why Quinta Eju wanted trustworthy people close to him. Once the company was organized and established, and they hired enough people to process the antidote ingredients, the protagonist planned to seek out some free time to develop his medicines. Before, Quinta Eju only wanted to make a profit, but things had become bigger than expected. But earning more was not a bad thing. Thanks to that, he was able to buy a good place. Arriving on the 5th floor from the elevator, Quinta Eju encountered a spacious floor. This was his new home. The feeling was a bit strange for him. He thought he would perish in Paju after being born as a reject of Mana, but by clinging to life, he was still chased and taken to the army by his own stepmother after awakening. With the help of the soul-sharing he did with Tanganek, he had moved to Guri, lived as a carrier, and developed antidotes. Among all these profits that Taiju obtained, the greatest was, in fact, regarding people. Lying on the big bed, he was able to relax after so much turmoil in such a short time. Guri would be his starting point, a foundation for him to take pride in being independent. As Quinta and Ju prepared to sleep, some people invaded the grounds of his property. Ma Sang-chik, head of Ri, the villain union of Guri, questioned his subordinate. "Is this Kim Tai-ju's building?" The man in the leather jacket felt envy upon seeing the building. A newcomer in the city had already come to such a point. The subordinate tried to explain the reason for so much profit. It's because the mosquito antidote was a huge success. I heard that the antidote for the water servant will also be released soon. The boss of the thugs ordered him to shut up, already knowing all the information. He clenched his teeth, irritated. Ah, what a waste. If it weren't for Jo Hun-seok's request, I would have kept this formula for myself. The thug tried to alert his boss, who already knew, and waved him to be silent. I know. We can't be without the supplies that Boss Joe gives us. Let's do what he says. The two entered the building. Ma Sang-chik used a small spatula to unlock the door. They climbed up the stairs using a flashlight. With a large group of thugs, they reached a main door. The leader of the thugs instructed, as soon as we enter, don't speak to him, just insert the syringe immediately. As soon as he feels the effect of the tranquilizer, his eyes will roll back, and we can quietly put him in the car. The door was opened, and one of the thugs, carrying a large syringe, entered the residence silently. He approached Kinta and Ju, who were sleeping, and he raised his hand to stab him all at once. The attack came down quickly, but was blocked when Quinta and Ju grabbed the bandit's arm. His hand tightened around his wrist, and his eyes revealed his fury. I was wondering if you really thought you could attack me with this. The bandit, unable to back down, cursed, "Damn, that bastard was awake!" But Sang-chik questioned his subordinate with the scar on his eye. "What are you doing? Just stick it to him already." The bandit, however, revealed to his boss that he couldn't move. Suddenly, the bandit who was held by Quinta and Ju noticed that his target had disappeared. As he looked side to side, the protagonist's voice sounded mysteriously, "I knew you were here from the beginning." The syringe also disappeared from the bandit's hand. Quinta and Ju appeared in the middle of the room holding it. I had forgotten that I hate needles. They hurt, you know? The bandit who tried to attack Quinta and Ju became desperate. "Boss, are you sure this guy was a reject?" Twirling the syringe between his fingers, the protagonist asked sarcastically, "Will the effects be milder if I just drink the contents?" But Sang-chik trembled with rage at being mocked. "You little worm! You've completely lost your mind stealing my sleeping drug and daring to go against a user like me!" The bandit leader was surprised, however, as Quinta and Ju actually poured the liquid from the syringe into his mouth. He threw the empty syringe on the floor and, glaring at them maliciously, asked, "The effect of it is very good. Do you have more drugs?" There were rumors that there was a syndicate in the alleys of Guri distributing them, as even the autonomy committee couldn't stop them. Someone influential in Guri must have been supporting them, and those very substances were right in front of Quinta and Ju. Now those substances were also a kind of poison with properties he had never tasted before. In the fourth star of the art of poisonous spirit, Taiju's body can easily handle substances like these. At the time the supreme poisonous lord Tang-gun AC roamed the martial world, he encountered all kinds of drugs, such as poppy, fantasy pills, and paradise incense. Having the memories of Tang-gun AC, Quinta Ju also produced them. His hand touched the head of one of the bandits, and the toxin in his body began to move. Quinta Ju absorbed it to strengthen his poisonous essence. The leader of the bandits trembled at what Quinta Ju was doing. The protagonist would not reveal his secrets, but would make them reveal theirs. "Now it's your turn. Tell me who ordered you to come here." But Sang-chik desperately tried to hide the information, knowing he would be eliminated by such a person if he revealed his identity. As this man did not want to answer him, Quinta Ju would simply need to make one of the other subordinates do it. The poisonous essence was released from the protagonist's body. Its strong light dazzled the entire floor, while the desperate scream of the bandit echoed throughout the building. The next day, several black cars lined up along the avenue cutting through the city. Inside, one of the cars was Lee Dong-hak, who questioned, "So who reported this?" It was Kim Tae-ju, the guy behind the antidote for mosquito poison. A woman in the front seat confirmed the information. "I heard that the Sheik blood gang was caught breaking into your house and trying to take you with them, as they discovered the mentor and have the evidence. They are asking the group of vigilantes to take them away and conduct a complete investigation to prove our reliability." Lee Jung-hak knew the trouble he had gotten himself into, as the bandits were connected to Jun Seok. Quinta Ju is a newcomer who is not in Guri. A long time ago, it was fine if they attacked him, but the problem was Bayek, who broke away. He was too respected. Involving Jo Run-seok and forcing an agreement would be the quickest way, but there was no way that narrow-eyed bastard would agree to it. Silently, it was clear to Lee Jung-hak that the conflict would drag on, as an investigation request had been made. It would be a big problem for the Watchers, too. Looking at the building he was heading to, he wondered if that was the only method to solve the issue. In front of the building, Quinta and Ju, he and Mr. Beck held the 4 intruders on their knees before them, but Sang-cheek was drooling, his white eyes in a state of withdrawal. The trio, led by Lee Jung-hak, entered the property. Mr. Beck welcomed them with open arms. You arrived quickly, Master Lee and members of the watchdog group. Lee Jung-hak, with a furrowed brow, passed by him, telling him to step aside. He headed towards Ma Sang-cheek while one of his subordinates moved Mr. Beck away. Suddenly, Lee Jung-hak drew his sword and attacked. By the authority granted to me by the Emperor, I will execute your sentence. A dagger met Lee Jung-hak's sword, blocking the attack. The protagonist got involved in the matter. Stop there! Why are you trying to eliminate the witness with a cell phone in hand? Quinta and Ju showed the main evidence. A video of Ma Sang-cheek confessing. It was Jo Hoon-seok and that idiot from the pharmaceutical company. He is the one who told us to kidnap him. The protagonist went straight to his accusation. Judging by the situation, it seems you already knew everything. Lee Jung-hak gritted his teeth at being confronted. Who are you? In front of him, the protagonist introduced himself. Upon hearing the name Quinta and Ju, Lee Jung-hak realized it was he who made the antidote. Realizing something, Lee Jung-hak approached Chin Tae-yoon. Looking closely, he realized that he had seen his face before. The security leader remembered. This was the loader he had met a few months ago. Understanding the situation, Lee Jung-hak asked if he was the one who had made the antidote. Putting away the phone with the evidence he had shown, Chin Tae-yoon confirmed. Lee Jung-hak sighed slightly, and a smile appeared on his lips. Just like energies of lightning overflowing from his body, his arrogant voice warned, "This should be a big deal here in Guri. What I say is law." Speaking about the 4 captured bandits, Lee Jung-hak was straightforward. Here in Taiju, I will make you one last offer. How about we just eliminate them once and for all? Chin Tae-yoon declined the offer, even while listening to him. Lee Jung-hak attacked. If you refuse, try to stop me. Irritatedly flicking his tongue, the protagonist drew several flying daggers from his inner pockets, launching them at the swordsman. Lee Jung-hak halted his attack upon sensing the approaching danger. He dodged the strike, delivering multiple slashing attacks from various angles, blocking the daggers. He understood a bit more. So it was you who captured these guys. Seeing his hand wounded by one of the daggers, Lee Jung-hak stopped holding back. It seems you have some ability. In that case, for the crime of interfering with a master twice, I sentence you. The protagonist was not intimidated and scoffed. A master? Is that all? I'm genuinely curious. Exactly what gives the guild master the confidence to act this way? In the midst of his words, Chin Tae-yoon was surprised by a swift strike. He had to use the ghost steps to jump as high as possible, escaping the slicing blow. Several flying daggers were controlled by him, ready to retaliate against the attack. Lee Jung-hak was already channeling the lightning. From his skill at the tip of the sword, before the confrontation happened, a helicopter approached and one passenger shouted from it to the skies, "Stop!" 4 men jumped from the helicopter and landed on the ground as if it were child's play. Commander Jin Hyung smiled at the corner of his mouth while observing the situation. "Hey, Lee Jung-hak, you better stop." The 4 army members prevented the confrontation from continuing. The commander addressed Lee Jung-hak. "It's been a while, hasn't it?" The man confronted him. "What are you doing here in the Free City?" The army commander provocatively replied, "I don't have permission to come here." This infuriated the head of security. "I will interpret this as military interference in the affairs of Guri," Jin Hyung joked with him, stating he wasn't there as a soldier. "Today I am here only as the civilian called Odin." Hyung, waving at Jung-hak, stepped aside. "Let's go our separate ways and mind our own business." Lee Jung-hak could do nothing but get angry. The army commander finally approached Quinta and Ju and greeted them while showing concern. "Did you get hurt?" The protagonist assured that he was fine and shook his hand. Surprisingly, Kim Tae-ju heard a request. "Who did this?" Just gave us a name from the 3 muscular companions of Commander Jin Hyung. The one in front was Gu Jung-hyung, division commander and general. "I, Gu Jung-young, will handle this for you. You are the one who provides the antidotes to the army. We cannot allow you to suffer bad treatment." Next to him, another division commander, Park Pil-song, agreed. "I will send some off-duty officers to be your bodyguards." The An of Atai, another general, also wanted to help. Should I prepare some restorative medicine for him?" Seeing Quinta and Ju laughing while interacting with the army generals, Lee Jung-hak, worried, wondered if he had met them through his father. The 4 were ranked master. Besides being from the military, they shouldn't be the type to talk to just anyone. Lee Jung-hak saw no choice but to back down. but he swore internally that he would repay the humiliation he suffered. Jin Hyung would not allow him to escape. "Are you leaving already? Why don't you stay a little longer?" The man turned around irritably. "I'm not a free person like you guys." Jin Hyung smiled provocatively. "Oh, how unexpected!" Provoked by the taunt, Lee Dong-hak questioned what he meant. The general pointed at the 4 handcuffed men. "If you're so busy, you should have taken care of that trash in Guri a long time ago. If it's too much for the watch group to handle alone, should I send reinforcements?" Rejecting the offer, Lee Jung-hak tried to leave quickly and ordered his subordinates, "Gather all the bastards from the Sheik blood gang. We will come back and deal with them." Jin Hyung would not allow such a thing. "Stay there. They will come with me." Lydium Hawk could not leave them behind. "I thought you said the military wouldn't get involved." Stepping closer, he stared the general down from a step away. "What are you planning?" With a calm smile, the general replied, "What do you think? These guys tried to kidnap a close friend of mine. Do you expect me to simply ignore it when I know about it?" Hostility rose between the two groups, with Lee Jung-hak warning, "This is clearly a violation of the imperial decree." Jin Hyung didn't care. His energy was released arrogantly, pressing the man in front of him. "Do you think I'm joking? Do you think you can defeat me just because we're both ranked master?" The younger man was surprised by the aura. There were no lies or hesitations in Jin Hyung's words. "If I take you down here, what kind of punishment? Do you think the emperor will give it to me?" Lee Jung-hak even trembled in front of the energy before him and tried to use the threat to get out of that situation. "Do you think you will get away with this?" The other 3 generals surrounded him, laughing mockingly. "Get away unscathed? Look closely. Do you think we wouldn't dare to touch you?" The 2 members of Lee Jung-hak's team didn't have the confidence to fight against the 3 master-rank generals. Lee Jung-hak also couldn't confront them. He had to give up. "Guys, go back to the car. We're leaving." While driving them away, Commander Jin Hyung snorted. That kid was too spoiled, just a brat. The protagonist approached him, thanking him for the help. It had been so easy that Jin Hyung was even laughing. Mr. Baek eventually approached, addressing the general. "I contacted you at the last minute, so I thank you for coming immediately." Recognizing Mr. Baek, the general thanked him for being called to prevent a disaster. Quinta and Ju also thanked Chief Baek for calling the general. In the end, they also hadn't lost possession of the 4 bandits. Getting to the point, General Jin Hyung requested permission to deal with them. Quinta and Ju didn't want to worry him. However, this was a personal matter for him. But the general of Mount Giri insisted, "This is not just your problem. What if these guys end up causing an interruption in the production of the antidote? The safety of our entire war body is at stake." The general warned that he would resolve all pending issues so that Taiju wouldn't have to get involved with Lee Jung-hak anymore. The protagonist thought about the man in question, remembering that Jung-hak had definitely been hit by his blade. He wondered if the 4-star poison was still ineffective against someone of master class. He hadn't shown any symptoms until the end of the fight. If the lieutenant general hadn't intervened, things might have gotten complicated. Quinta and Ju questioned themselves, would I have been able to win in this situation? The confrontation made him certain that he needed to become stronger so that something like this would never happen again. Inside the car, however, Lee Jung-hak was cursing. Quinta and Ju, his hand was unexpectedly glowing in the spot where he had been hit earlier. Worried, he wondered if it was poison. Suddenly, all the poison began to spread through his veins, glowing incandescently. Lee Jung-hak was sweating, even though it wasn't hot. His expression of agony was getting worse. He tried to hold his wrist so the poison wouldn't spread, but it was too late. The substance was already all over his body. His incredulous gaze wondered what it was. One of the awakened members of Lee Jung-hak's team noticed that there was something strange with his master. Lee Jung-hak desperately shouted, "Get to the hospital, quick!" The car accelerated to its maximum speed on the bridge that connected the remote area of the city to the city center. Lee Jung-hak felt his body becoming weaker, the poison consuming him. He could no longer understand what Quinta and Ju had done to him. A military helicopter flew over the area. From the Dire Mountain fighter, inside the helicopter, some men were trembling in fear, but Sangechike was somehow trying to convince the military to let him go. I have already said everything I knew, obtaining all the information I needed. Jin Hyung ordered one of his subordinates. "Jun-tai!" The soldier got up and headed for the side door of the helicopter. With the door open, it was possible to feel the air pressure trying to pull them out of the aircraft. General Jin Hyung commanded, "Now, throw them out one by one." The bandits cried, begging to be spared their lives, but seconds later, all they could hear were the final screams of the four. He gathered and cleaned his hands, finishing putting the trash outside. The general moderately praised his good work and ordered, "Deal with Jo Hun-seok also to the other two." The general ordered that some troops be sent to assist Tai Hong. Jin Hyung did not want to miss this opportunity. He wanted to establish a connection with Kim Tae-ju. Definitely a young woman with short hair had just gotten off at the city station. She received a call from Baek Chang-hun, her orphanage brother, confirming he was at the terminal. Soo-young asked about the news. While they talked, she was surprised, as Chang-hun was telling her some unexpected things. "Yeah, I'm telling you. He even donated billions to the orphanage. He has also made the antidote." Soo-yeon was quite impressed. When she last saw Tae-ju, she thought he was just a con artist. As soon as she got into a taxi, she said goodbye. "See you at home." She then asked the driver to take her to the orphanage. There was a reason why Soo-yeon had been called back to the city by her father. It didn't take long for Soo-yeon to arrive at the destination. In the recreational area of the orphanage, a large pot was being heated around. Dozens of children were playing happily. Baek Hong-pyu was excited to hear a young woman calling him father. "Oh, you arrived." Soo-yeon smiled in a way different from any other moment. "Of course I would come when my father calls me." Thanking him, she called him to see something. Seeing the large pot, Soo-yeon asked if they were having a special day. "The meat that is cooking is special, according to Mr. Beck. Look, we caught a water-poisoned deer, so we are throwing a party." Soo-yeon was quite shocked. Knowing how dangerous the flesh of such servants was, made her realize that Chang-hun was speaking the truth. Her father confirmed it. "That's right, that's why we are eating meat." Now he took her to where Quinta and Ju were. Mr. Beck wanted to introduce him to his daughter. Quinta and Ju were next to a table with a large pot in front. There was a line of children from whom he was serving soup with meat. "It's hot, so eat slowly, okay?" When they reached Quinta and Ju, Mr. Beck introduced his daughter, CEO Ion, to Vela. The protagonist greeted her. "Nice to reveal, we have met before, right?" He remembered when they met after he made some antidote boxes. Mr. Oyao smiled gently. "Oh, so you remember. I'm sorry for being rude. I'm looking forward to working with you now," she assured him. "I will make sure to raise Tyron properly, making him feel safe." Quinta and Ju thanked her. At that moment, a group of leather boots arrived at the orphanage. The sound of dozens of footsteps caught Quinta and Ju's attention. A man in a military suit saluted, introducing himself. "Attention, Major of Minsu," and 19 others introduced themselves. "We have been assigned to the security of Tai Hong Bio." The protagonist extended his hand to greet him, thanking him for his presence, but spoke with regret. "With so many people, we may not have enough places to accommodate everyone." Major Minsu smiled, asking him not to worry, as they had also brought camping equipment. The two shook hands, assuring each other that they were looking forward to working together. The Major promised that he would risk his life as long as he could protect him. With the Major so willing, Quinta and Ju wanted to seal such a friendship. "Let's start with a servant water soup." Major Minsu's eyes shone at hearing this, and he immediately ordered his men. "Did you hear? Unload the materials immediately, and they will eat while seeing how many people were present around them." Quinta and Ju realized they were no longer alone. He now had a faction for himself in the castle of Guri City. Several high-ranking government officials gathered. There was also the meeting room of the Autonomous Committee. Accusations were directed at a table: price fixing of pharmaceuticals, extortion of small and medium pharmacies, and lobbying in financial institutions. "Do you admit these accusations, Jo Hun-seok?" Rane was forced to admit. Leaving after the trial, he cursed inwardly. "Damn it! You accepted my money gladly and now you are discarding me." Thus, he could no longer hire Sangwe Chiki, and Quinta and Ju were still alive. He furiously questioned where things had gone wrong. There was no other way out now. Getting into the car, Jo Runseok hit the road. During the night, he wanted to hide for a while. The car sped quickly until it reached a red traffic light. As he stopped to wait, Hunseok saw a motorcycle approaching. The motorcyclist, dressed in leather, suddenly broke the car's window. Pharmacist Hunseok was attacked before he could see. The car was dragged to a cliff. Below it, a lake. When the car fell, the motorcyclist contacted his leader, who ordered, "Mission complete, return to base." Meanwhile, in a hospital bed, Lee Jung-hak writhed. He felt extreme pain in his body, to the point of not being able to get up. One of his team members entered the room carrying a briefcase. "Guild leader, I got it." From the briefcase, he took out a small square box. Inside was a high-grade elixir made by the pharmaceutical company Miranai. Lydium Hack's veins were already completely swollen. His eyes surrounded by black spots with a dry mouth, he begged quickly, "Give it to me!" From the box, he took out a golden elixir and quickly threw it into his mouth. The energy in the elixir caused a whirlwind inside the body of the awakened one, purifying the poison that was affecting him. Lindong Hak felt greatly relieved. The elixir had worked, demonstrating the value of what cost 10 billion won. However, his happiness did not last long. Something inside him exploded. The effect of the elixir was diluted, and the effect of the poison attacked him once again. With the corners of his mouth dripping a bright red, young Hak's eyes rolled back as he murmured, "Quinta and Ju, you bastard!" The protagonist had gone again to the forest of Mount Gear. With the entry of Baekseoyeon, the company was slowly starting to take shape. The problem was that the variety of medicines the company sold was very small, and that is why he was venturing into the depths of Mount Gear. This time, he wanted to try making a new medicine with the gallbladder of the giant moon bear. Of course, he needed to find new poisons for the poisonous spiritual art. While on the hunt, it had not been long since he reached the 4th star, but also, having consumed a large amount of spore poison recently, he was already close to reaching the 5th star. As he walked through the forest, he noticed something on one of the trees. There seemed to be red sap dripping. This was a poisonous sap tree. It exudes toxic sap from its bark to fend off pests that gnaw at its trunk. Rubbing his finger on the toxin, he brought it to his mouth. Unexpectedly, the poison was sweet, a taste that only he could discern. He also found a blue-bellied and fire-bellied toad. There was poison on the blue part of its belly. Such poison had anesthetic properties, so he decided to collect it for research. Taking the frog, Quinta and Ju planned to put it in his pouch. Advancing a bit further, he ended up encountering a giant white tree centipede. The centipede coiled around his arm, being larger than some snakes. Its venom potential was equally astonishing. Such venom could even take down orcs in a single dose. The centipede ended up biting Quinta and Ju's hand, and a black poison began to spread, being absorbed by his body. The protagonist suddenly heard a noise coming from the jungle. Among the bushes, he saw a luminous V mark. An enraged gaze with horns appeared, approaching through the leaves. Quinta and Ju had finally found what was the giant bear of the moon, a beast with thorny horns on its back and a golden mark on its chest. The bear, upon seeing him, roared fiercely, its voice echoing through the forest. Having encountered the bear earlier than he imagined, Kim Taeju wondered if he should test how strong it was, pulling out a few throwing daggers. The protagonist threw them at the bear. The giant beast was not slow. With its large paw, it blocked the attack. Quinta and Ju realized how fast the beast was. Having been attacked, the bear became even more furious, its wild instincts coming to the surface. Against the bear, Quinta and Ju tried to run around it with explosive steps, throwing daggers at it. Several daggers were embedded in the bear's back, which didn't seem to feel the damage done at all. The skin on the bear's back was extremely thick. It moved slightly, and the daggers that were stuck there were freed onto the ground. Quinta and Ju did not stay still. He used the poisonous palm of the blood seal, hitting the bear on the side of the belly. The beast was not affected by the attack and counterattacked with a claw strike, but luckily, Quinta and Ju managed to dodge. The bear's attack ended up only hitting a tree. Destroying the using steps, Ghost, Quinta, and Ju attacked again. The daggers were spent at a rapid pace, as they were constantly thrown during the pursuit. The attacks of Quinta and Ju were not working, and he realized that the moon bear was extremely powerful, more than he expected. It would be difficult to defeat him only with the strength of the spiritual art of poison at the 4th star. Slightly panting from exhaustion, Quinta and Ju knew, "I have no choice but to become stronger." The protagonist opened his small bag and took out the blue-bellied frog, bringing it to his mouth. Just like the frog, he did the same with the centipede, devouring them to consume their toxins. The poisonous energy began to rise through the meridians like waves. Quinta and Ju hoped to be able to transform it into his poisonous essence. Quinta and Ju's eyes shone with a slight greenish hue. Quinta and Ju laughed fervently. He had finally reached the 5th star of the spiritual art of poison, without primordial form. His eyes showed the certainty that he had that everything would be different from then on. From another inner pocket, Quinta and Ju took a different weapon, an iron butterfly that he controlled with the poisons. The two butterflies flew toward the moon bear. The butterflies dodged the bear's claws. They were a hidden weapon art that could only be used upon reaching the 5th star of the poison spirit art. It allowed freely altering the trajectory of hidden weapons using internal energy. The butterflies aimed for the bear's eyes. The beast had no chance to dodge or block without understanding the nature of the attacks. With the bear completely blinded, Quinta and Ju became confident to finally defeat him. The internal wounds inflicted on the bear caused him to fall. Both of Quinta and Ju's goals were accomplished at the same time. He reached the 5th star and hunted the moon bear. With the hunt completed, which bored him, he planned to leave. However, he was going to collect the bear's poison pouch. The pouch was golden, contrasting with the beast's black fur. The protagonist felt that the poison was definitely powerful. To extract it from the pouch without ruining it, he needed to envelop it first with energy. Quinta is Jew. He did so, and soon absorbed all the poisonous energy. With this, he would now be able to make an elixir. Now it was time to go back.
The receptionist believed that for Grandmaster Qin to personally take the young man to choose martial arts, he must be someone mysteriously incredible. Master Qin recommended that Su-hong learn a control-type technique, something he did not yet possess. The flame cage, an A-rank technique that condensed spiritual fire into a cage, was his recommendation. He explained that attacking martial arts only require the connection of spiritual energy to a weapon, or the body, whereas control martial arts require the release of this spiritual energy outside the body. Most level 2 martial arts practitioners cannot even do this. Master Qin would not recommend this skill since Su-hong was at level 1, but his great talent made him believe he could learn it. Stating that he knew this technique, Master Qin said he would perform a demonstration. The protagonist thanked him for the advice. The Grandmaster extended his hand, causing flames to emerge. A cage of fire was created before them. Master Qin advised him to remember, although it is a control type and causes little damage, it is still extremely useful. He demonstrated how to use this technique. After conjuring the cage, the enemy would be trapped and then attacked with another skill, such as a fire arrow. Master Qin fired the arrow, exploding the cage and showing how to eliminate the enemy with a skill combo. The Grandmaster underestimated Su-hong's abilities. However, maintaining the flame cage while simultaneously launching an attack is something even you cannot do currently. I only managed to master this after becoming a level 3 martial arts practitioner. Seeing how the Grandmaster claimed that doing that was very difficult, Su-hong thought about choosing something else. I'm going to put aside the control martial art for now. The Grandmaster was surprised to see that he was giving up so quickly. Geniuses were usually arrogant, but the monstrous young man was listening to advice. His future would be limitless. In reality, Su-hong was going to choose another skill, because he had already learned the flame cage while the Grandmaster was demonstrating it. The protagonist asked the Grandmaster to help him find another good martial art. Remembering that Su-hong possessed several types of techniques, the Grandmaster recommended a defense technique. He flipped through the book and showed a technique to Su-hong. That was an A-rank Earth attribute technique, thick Earth battle armor. It condensed Earth spiritual energy to form a battle armor on the surface of the body, providing an extremely high defense. Su-hong imagined that with his physical body and this technique combined, the effect would be incredible. Excited, he accepted the recommendation. Almost forgetting, the Grandmaster asked what Su-hong's special physical type was. The protagonist revealed that he possessed the Sovereign Physique. The Sovereign Physique was the strongest in terms of strength among the 3,000 physiques. Su-hong imagined that if the Grandmaster heard this, he might simply pull out a whole basket of A-rank martial arts to give him. However, the Grandmaster became thoughtful, stating he had never heard of this physical type. The protagonist smiled embarrassedly, claiming he had made up that name. Since this physical type was not registered anywhere, Grandmaster Qin analyzed Su-hong's prowess. You easily blocked a full-strength punch from Wang Tiantuo, who possesses the barbarian god physique. The strength amplification of your sovereign physique is terrifying. I have never seen the strength of a level 1 martial arts practitioner reach such a level. At that moment, the Grandmaster's phone rang. He answered, stating he was busy. However, on the other side, Baimu euphorically warned that the contribution points tracking system showed that Su-hong was apparently still wearing a weighted vest during his previous battle. The Grandmaster looked at Su-hong in astonishment. You were still wearing a weighted vest when you fought Wang Tiantuo and those other two? The protagonist nodded, stating that if he had taken off the vest, he would lose some points. The Grandmaster tried to remain calm. The young man before him was a monster and could not be judged by normal logic. Crossing his arms, he instructed him, "Stop worrying about those few contribution points. As long as you successfully complete the training camp later, there will be plenty of martial arts rewards. Take it off right now." When Su-hong took off the weighted vest, the receptionist approached to help him store it in the warehouse. The protagonist warned that the vest was heavy, but the woman replied with a confident smile, "I am the administrator of the Martial Arts Pavilion, a level 2 martial arts practitioner." However, her eyes lost all confidence upon grabbing the vest. She dropped it to the ground, unable to bear its weight. Stuttering, she asked how many kilograms it weighed. Putting his clothes back on, the protagonist revealed that the vest weighed 5 tons. Grandmaster Chin began to sweat. The young man was carrying 5 tons of weight at the beginning of the Tier 1 group stage, and even so, defeated 3 Tier 1 geniuses who were already in the final stage. The Grandmaster placed his arm over Su-hong's shoulders, drawing him closer with a playful voice. "You little monster, I have one more A-rank technique to give you." Excited, Su-hong asked what martial art that would be. Stating he remembered that Su-hong used a spear, Grandmaster Chin commented that Grandmaster Jiang Lin from Yang City also used this weapon. The old man showed a confident smile, pointing to himself. He possesses an A-rank Thunder Spear art, and its power is considered one of the strongest, even among A-rank martial arts. I will take you to challenge his student and help you steal this martial art. How about it? Su-hong asked if that was a good idea. Grandmaster Chin blamed Grandmaster Jiang, who told him to keep mocking my training center in Star City, calling it trash. I have to mock him back. Thus, the two left the pavilion to make their preparations. When night arrived, Su-hong rested in his dormitory. He still could not believe he had received such a clean room. On that day, Su-hong received the new martial arts Flame Cage, Troop Deployment Art, and Thick Earth Battle Armor. Sitting on the floor, he focused on cultivating the 3 techniques. In his office, Grandmaster Chin contacted Jiang Lin. "Get your Thunder Spear art ready. I will take my student to challenge your dojo tomorrow." On the other side, Jiang Lin was also confident. "Give me a break, old Chin. My training camp in Yang City produced a genius with the wood spirit body, who has already reached level 2 martial arts practitioner." He looked at the young man while warning Grandmaster Chin that, in just 2 days, that boy had cultivated the A-rank control martial art, Wood Prison, to the point of being able to release spiritual energy outside the body. The young man trained with his eyes closed and, when he opened them, used the Wood Prison, a technique that created countless vines to surround and trap his enemy. However, after using the technique, the vines dissipated in a short time. He had failed once again. Master Jiang tried to instruct the young Lin Chunfeng. "I told you before, control martial arts are not something you can master simply because you want to. Do not bite off more than you can chew." However, Lin Chunfeng stated that, in at most 1 month, he would be able to reach the initial stage of that technique. With the young man speaking with such excitement, Master Jiang asked his friend during the call, "Did you hear? It will take him 1 month to do what took me 3 years. This student is a monster. Compared to him, yours are trash." On the other side, Grandmaster Jin was infuriated, but he could do nothing as Jiang Lin hung up the phone. The Grandmaster warned his student, "When Grandmaster Chin brings his student to challenge us, make sure you don't win too easily. Pretend it was a thrilling and hard-fought victory. We need to leave them some honor." Lin Chunfeng went back to using the wood techniques, ensuring that Grandmaster Jiang could count on him and his acting skills. The next afternoon at the Yang City training camp, which was located at the top of a stone mountain, a duo approached through the sky. Grandmaster Chin was guiding Su-hong, approaching the training camp through the sky. Su-hong never imagined that his first flying experience would be under such circumstances. When the two landed, some people were already waiting for them. Jiang Lin received them with a look of contempt. "Old Chin, what kind of genius did you bring? Hurry up, show me." The protagonist gave a fist and palm salute while the Grandmaster introduced him. "Su-hong, beginner level 1, uses a spear just like yours." Jiang Lin was surprised and thought his friend had gone senile. To him, a Tier 2 practitioner fighting a Tier 1 at the initial stage meant defeating him with a single blow. He did not even know how he should act to make the fight seem balanced. Lin Chunfeng would truly have his acting skills tested. Grandmaster Chin approached his rival. "Let's start the fight right away. We still need to be back in time for dinner." In the martial arena of the training camp, a group of dozens of students gathered. Some wanted to know how strong the genius from Star City was, while others mocked him. Jiang Lin introduced Grandmaster Tenli to everyone. Everyone greeted him. Afterward, he introduced the person behind the Grandmaster, Su-hong. Next, he revealed with disgust that he was at the beginning of Tier 1 in cultivation. All the students were outraged. Lin Chunfeng became desperate. He did not think he would be able to pretend to be as weak as a Tier 1 practitioner. Jiang Lin made sure to wager with his rival. "If my student defeats yours, will you teach him an A-rank martial art?" He felt a little bad about the power difference and placed his hand on Su-hong's shoulder, reassuring him. "Young man, if you win, besides my Thunder Spear art, I will let you choose another A-rank martial art. Give it your best." The protagonist thanked him. Master Chin patted old Jiang on the back while laughing out loud. "You are such a good man." The two soon stepped onto the arena. Old Jiang shouted, "Lin Chunfeng, know your limits and hold back." The young man assured him that he did not need to worry and drew his sword. He tried to imagine how weak he would have to pretend to be so as not to accidentally hurt the genius from the neighboring city. He eventually noticed something and asked if Su-hong would not draw his spear. Stretching, Su-hong smiled, assuring him that he did not need it. He only knew the C-rank Furious Marine Spear art. Its power was much inferior to the Cloud-Hidden Gale Fist and the Bone Abyss Serene Fist. If he used a spear, he would actually be at a disadvantage. However, Lin Chunfeng misunderstood what he meant, thinking Su-hong was someone arrogant. He advanced toward the protagonist, forgetting to pretend to be weak. Chunfeng raised his arm and sword. Using wood attribute energy, he delivered the blow against Su-hong. The protagonist dodged, weaving through the arena. Lin Chunfeng was surprised to see that his opponent knew an A-rank wind attribute movement technique. He smiled maliciously, seeing that the battle would be interesting. He advanced quickly, showing that movement techniques were useless against him. Lin Chunfeng used the wood prison. Clenching his fist, he made vines emerge beneath Su-hong's feet. The protagonist was surprised because Grandmaster Qin had stated that control techniques were difficult to use. This showed that Lin Chunfeng was a genius. The protagonist decided to use his real strength to break free. However, when he raised his foot just slightly, the vines fell apart, leaving him confused. Lin Chunfeng appeared behind him, raising his sword. Stopping for just 1 second is enough. The protagonist looked back and channeled energy into his fist. Lin Chunfeng realized that the punch was way too fast. Even though he attacked last, Su-hong's attack would land first. Desperately, Chunfeng used the vine shield. However, Su-hong's hand tore right through the plants. The punch struck Lin Chunfeng, blasting him to the other side of the arena. Master Jiang's apprentice realized that his opponent's strength was just a bit too ridiculous. Su-hong stared at him, showing what he was capable of. All the students in the arena were shocked to see an A-rank technique demonstrated by a Tier 2 martial artist being destroyed by the brute force of a ferocious beast. Old Qin laughed out loud with happiness, asking his friend what he thought of that. Su-hong did not stand still and advanced toward Lin Chunfeng. Su-hong's high kick should have hit him, but it struck only an afterimage. Lin Chunfeng appeared behind him, after also using a movement technique. The attack hit the floor of the arena as Lin Chunfeng managed to avoid it. Facing Su-hong, he stated, "Being at the initial stage of the first rank and making it this far, you are strong enough. If we were at the same level, I wouldn't be as good as you." Confused, Chunfeng saw the young man wave at him. In the next moment, Su-hong clenched his fist, causing flames to emerge. The flame cage was invoked, forming around Lin Chunfeng. The young man's eyes widened as he still could not repeat that feat. Even a beginner level 1 martial arts practitioner had already learned a control-focused martial art. Looking from the corner of his eye at his rival, the spearmaster roared, "Flame prison? Mastering the flame prison while still at level 1? This student of yours is way too ridiculous." However, Grandmaster Qin also looked shocked, alerting Jiang Lin, "Why are you so surprised? Wasn't that a technique you taught him?" Grandmaster Qin was laughing out loud, not knowing how to answer. Jiang Lin continued to ask questions. "Wait a minute, isn't your student of the wind attribute? Where did this fire attribute come from?" The Grandmaster simply stated that Su-hong was multi-attributed. Despite this, Jiang Lin was confused as he noticed that the flame prison had not yet ended its duration. Master Qin noticed that there was white fire energy in Su-hong's hands. With great irritation, Lin Chunfeng asked in surprise, sweating more and more because of the heat, "Don't tell me you can still attack me while maintaining the flame prison? That is something even a level 3 martial arts practitioner would find difficult to do." The protagonist confirmed with a nod, causing his fist wrapped in white flames to approach rapidly. Behind the bars of fire, Lin Chunfeng saw the attack approach at extreme speed. He tried to prepare a tree shield, but without success. Su-hong's punch tore through the plant shield and struck Chunfeng in the abdomen. Su-hong had not only defeated his opponent, but also broken his sword with a single blow. Su-hong's punch hit his opponent's stomach, lifting him into the air and making him cough due to internal injuries. The massive flames of the flame cage hit him, tearing his clothes. Lin Chunfeng managed to recover, put out the flames, and used a healing magic on his own body. Confidently, he told Su-hong not to underestimate the healing power of a Tier 2 practitioner with a spiritual wood body. The protagonist was impressed by that healing power. A single punch was not enough to defeat his opponent, so he advanced to deliver several more. With the rain of punches, Su-hong did not think Chunfeng would be able to keep healing himself. However, Lin Chunfeng maintained his confidence. "You will not surpass me. The stamina of a Tier 1 cannot be greater than that of a Tier 2. Lin Chunfeng stood up once more, challenging Su Hong to see what would last longer, the flame cage or his healing power. Not possessing much more fire spiritual energy in his body, Su Hong realized that when the cage disappeared, the situation could reverse. He extinguished the cage, which gave Lin Chunfeng back the confidence to counterattack. However, what he saw next left him jaw-dropped. Fire energy accumulated in the palm of Su Hong's hand. He had undone the cage because he needed to concentrate all his power into a single attack. Chunfeng's eyes turned red with disbelief. He sweated with fear. Is this the level of power that a level 1 martial arts practitioner can release? You monster! Unable to retreat, Chunfeng placed both hands on the ground, unleashing the power of plants and wood. Enormous tree trunks in the shape of a shield began to rise between him and Su Hong. A gleam appeared in the protagonist's eyes. His punch struck the massive wooden wall, tearing through it and forming a tunnel for his advance. Su Hong's punch knocked Chunfeng down without resistance. The protagonist remained before him, watching him faint. Throughout the arena, a great silence lingered. It was then that everyone crashed back to reality, still surprised by Chunfeng's defeat. Master Jiang trembled as he asked old Qin what kind of monster he had found. Pointing at the stage with a trembling hand, he recognized the attribute fusion. Such a young level 1 martial arts practitioner has already mastered attribute fusion. Do you know what this means? Sipping tea, Grandmaster Qin replied, "That is nothing. I am definitely not going to say that it took Su Hong only 1 month to fuse 2 attributes." He stared at his rival with an arrogant look. If you knew that Su Hong has 100% affinity with all 7 attributes and simultaneously practices the 7 guidance techniques, wouldn't you drop dead from shock on the spot? Grandmaster Qin took pleasure in saying those words. They hammered away at Zhang Lin's mind. Placing his arm over his shoulder, Grandmaster Qin reminded him, "Now that Su Hong has won, it is time for you to fulfill your promise. The A-rank Thunder Spear art, and besides that, your supreme technique, Palm Thunder." The two soon went to the martial arts training room, taking Su Hong with them. The protagonist and Master Jiang stood in the center of the training room. Zhang Lin was still nervous, having never seen someone like that in his entire life. With a spear in hand, he explained that the technique he would teach was the 9 heavens destroying spear. Channeling his power into the spear and making it release bolts of energy, he explained that the technique possessed 3 levels, each composed of 3 movements. Each level was more powerful than the previous one, and its difficulty also increased. Zhang Lin stated, "If it were an ordinary martial arts practitioner, I wouldn't even teach this to someone below level 4. But with your talent, Su Hong, learning the first stance shouldn't be a problem." Raising the spear, he commanded him to watch closely. A tsunami emerged with the swing of the weapon, the first stance of the first level, overcoming the river. With a thrust, he moved on to the second stance, inverting the sea. The wave followed Zhang Lin's command, advancing toward a single point. Su Hong felt like a solitary boat in the middle of a storm at sea. Zhang Lin moved on to the third stance, destroying the heavens. A new thrust tore through the air. Countless whirlpools of wind and water emerged from the tip of the spear. The protagonist watched closely. The final attack launched by Zhang Lin would have enough strength to destroy the training center if he had not held back. Even so, the residual shockwave from that movement still created a terrifying tornado. Although Su Hong was nothing more than an ant before him at that moment, he hoped that in the future, he too would possess that level of combat power. When the attack dispersed, only a small mist remained. Zhang Lin handed Su Hong a small notebook with the teachings of the technique, but told him to look for him should he have any questions. The protagonist thanked the Grandmaster, who stated he was only honoring a bet he had lost. Zhang Lin warned that when he mastered the first level, he would teach him a second martial art, the Palm Thunder. Although the power of the 9 heavens destroying spear was considered extremely strong, it still fell far short compared to the Palm Thunder. Upon hearing how powerful that technique was, Su Hong felt the need to master the spear art as quickly as possible. Zhang Lin waved at him, stating he had something to discuss with Qin Tianli, and left him practicing. An hour later, the master returned. He opened the door of the training center to see Su Hong's progress. Before him emerged a wave of golden energy. Su Hong delivered a thrust, and the wave followed the path of his spear. Upon seeing Master Jiang, the protagonist held back, but demanded, "Teach me the Palm Thunder." Zhang Lin almost fainted upon encountering the talent of that monster. Master Jiang spent the entire rest of the day instructing Su Hong. When he left the training center, he looked dejected. Grandmaster Qin approached, asking why he was staring at the sky with that look, and asked if Jiang had taught the Palm Thunder to Su Hong. The master merely nodded, leaving Qin Tianli worried. The old man ran to the door of the training center while complaining. "You aren't hiding any secrets, are you? A martial art as difficult as the Palm Thunder How could Su-hong learn it if you didn't teach him step by step? When he opened the door, the old Grandmaster stopped talking. Su-hong was standing with the Palm Thunder energy in his hands. He was already utilizing the elements fused with it. Upon seeing Master Qin, the protagonist showed that he had already mastered the skill. Grandmaster Qin joined his friend with a blank stare. Jianglin recalled how it had taken him 3 months to master that technique, and, at the time, he considered himself a genius. Now he envisioned for Su-hong a future in Tier 9, or perhaps even beyond. Grandmaster Qin tried to pull him out of his trauma. "Don't be so emotional. I'll buy you dinner. We are brothers in the same boat." Grandmaster Qin warned Su-hong that he was going out to drink and told him to meet with an assistant to get a temporary dormitory. That night, Su-hong would sleep in the dormitory of the Yang City camp. Sitting on the bed of an ordinary room, he looked at his martial points. He had obtained 213 points for defeating Wang Tiantuo and Lin Chunfeng. Checking his stats, he thought his 138 vital blood points were too low. He also needed to evolve his spirit, his physique, and his martial arts. The low amount of points he was obtaining no longer seemed to be enough. The protagonist made his first investment by increasing his vital blood, the foundation of his cultivation. After spending all his points and raising his blood strength to 161, Su-hong sighed. He knew he needed to find another way to earn more martial Dao points. This meant he would have to go to the Beast Room and kill more ferocious monsters in the future. Far away from there, in a bar, Jianglin was shouting, "Old Qin, you are truly cruel. You tricked me and still made me lose 2 A-rank martial arts. How despicable." Master Jiang's face was already red from drunkenness. A subordinate of Master Jiang entered the bar in desperation. "I finally found you. Tonight's night raid activity is about to begin. We are just waiting for your order." Jianglin merely nodded, telling them to go ahead. The man took his phone and transmitted the order. Surprised, Master Qin asked Old Jiang, "Do you guys have a night raid activity today? But that boy Su-hong is also in your dormitory tonight." Jianglin broke his glass, startled as he remembered the boy. He shouted to his subordinate to quickly cancel the night activity, but the notification had already been sent. At that moment, dozens of veteran awakened were sneaking through the dormitories. Bu Jingfeng asked his brother, Bu Jinglong, "Big brother, you are a high level 2 martial arts practitioner. Why are you participating in a night raid?" With a smile, Jinglong replied, "Master Jiang is truly incredible. This wood spirit body is only at the initial stage of level 2. Isn't this practically asking me to bully kids?" Changing the subject, Jinglong revealed he had heard that when his brother was at the Star City camp, he had been defeated during the night raid. Jingfeng shouted, embarrassed that he had underestimated the enemy, and swore, "If I face Su-hong again, I will definitely defeat him." Jinglong placed his arm over his brother's shoulder. "You are an almost level 2 martial arts practitioner and were defeated by a level 1 practitioner at the initial stage. Is that something to be proud of?" Hearing the mockery, Jingfeng told Jinglong not to underestimate the opponent. The wood spirit body was powerful. All the awakened put on their masks. The platoon leader shouted, "Brothers, advance!" Everyone rushed to their assigned rooms. Desperate cries from the students echoed through the building. Hearing the commotion, the protagonist wondered if that was a night raid. In several rooms, students were thrown out while still in their underwear. One of the awakened ended up noticing Su-hong at the door and attacked him. However, Su-hong's punch struck him first. He lifted his opponent into the air with just a single blow. Irritated, Su-hong rebuked him. "You didn't even ask who I was. I am not a student from your training camp. Why are you attacking me?" The awakened, struck by Su-hong, crashed through the ceiling with his head and got stuck. The protagonist ended up thinking of something. If he changed his clothes and pretended to be one of the attackers, he could openly defeat other students and earn martial points. A malicious smile appeared on Su-hong's face. That was a perfect idea. In another room, a shirtless student begged the attacker to at least let him put something on before fighting. Someone suddenly entered the room. "Brother, I came to help you." Su-hong rushed forward toward the attacking awakened. While the man complained, Su-hong hit him with a punch, blasting him out of the building through the wall. The young student was terrified and wondered why they were fighting among themselves. After defeating the man, the protagonist left the room celebrating. "I hit the jackpot! I can earn hundreds of points today." Since all the attackers possessed a reasonable level, Su-hong planned to face them without holding back. He ran from room to room, facing both the students and the participants of the night raid. He hit them in the stomach, in the face, and even in their sensitive parts. After knocking down at least a dozen people, Su-hong sighed. He had completely cleared the first floor and now could move on to the next one. On the second floor, Su-hong advanced like a fire arrow, clearing everything in his path. Earning an average of 10 points for each person he defeated, he quickly went up the stairs toward the third floor. On the third floor, a group of awakened was gathered in front of a room's door. They were facing a student named Lin Chunfeng, someone who appeared to be very fierce. Everyone watched as he managed to resist Bu Jinglong, a high level 2 practitioner, without being defeated yet. Lin Chunfeng's recovery ability was terrifying. If that continued, Bu Jinglong would be in danger. Before them, Lin Chunfeng and Jinglong waged a fierce battle. Someone appeared behind the group, complaining that they were blocking the way. One of the attackers revealed that only the student with the wood spirit body still remained, and called out to him, "Take a look!" Lin Chunfeng's recovery is terrifying. Making energy surge in his fist, Su Hong smiled. He caught the attention of the entire group. Before they could realize it, Su Hong attacked them. He had already defeated the boy with the wood spirit body before, and did not care in the slightest about watching him fight. Jinglong looked back, confused, not understanding why one of the team members was attacking his own companions. Jinglong and Lin Chunfeng stared at the same person. Su Hong challenged them to face him together. Jinglong told the young Chunfeng to rest. "As soon as I deal with him, I'll come back to face you." Jinglong advanced, surrounded by a crimson energy. He roared against the traitor. "Boy, a martial arts practitioner participating in the night raid is only responsible for their own target. Since you are not following the rules, I'm going to teach you a lesson." The protagonist smiled upon seeing that the attacker was willing to fight. His fist clashed against Jinglong's and their energies collided. Jinglong was surprised as he thought he would win with a single blow. No one in the group was supposed to be stronger than him. However, the clash threw him backward, causing a sharp pain in his arm. As soon as he forced him to retreat, Su Hong advanced, giving him no chance to escape. Jinglong called Lin Chunfeng to help him. Lin Chunfeng understood the command and used his wood prison. Vines emerged from the floor of the story, trying to surround Su Hong. However, the protagonist reacted in time, dodging the plants. This, however, helped Jinglong approach from behind his back and launch a stealth attack. Yet, the blow struck an Earth attribute battle armor. Jinglong was jaw-dropped. He never imagined someone could block a high-level Tier 2 attack of his. He wondered where that monster had come from. Su Hong disappeared, and when he appeared again, struck Jinglong in the stomach with his palm. Jinglong coughed blood due to internal injuries being thrown backward. Su Hong did not stand still and advanced against Chunfeng. He threw him to the ground with ease. Chunfeng did not even have a chance to defend himself before fainting once more. With this short battle, Su Hong obtained 140 points from Jinglong and 75 points from Lin Chunfeng. Adding up all the battles in the building, he accumulated 2,400 martial points. The next morning, all the students and Awakened who participated in the night raid were in the same situation. Bruises spread across everyone's bodies. Old Jiang complained to Old Qin. "Old Qin, look at the good deed your monstrous student did." Old Qin tried to defend Su Hong, but in Zhonglin's eyes, no one but him could have caused something of that level. Zhonglin quickly kicked them out. Old Qin placed the boy under his arm and leaped into the skies. During the journey, Grandmaster Qin asked Su Hong, "You still don't possess metal, wood, and water attribute martial arts, do you?" The protagonist nodded and asked why he wanted to know. With a smile, the Grandmaster revealed that he had some old friends. "How about we visit all of them?" Over the next 10 days, Su Hong and Qin Tianlie traveled through several training camps. Su Hong defeated the best student of each of old Qin Tianlie's friends, who cursed them, while he won bets and new skills. Following this same routine, Su Hong obtained 3 more A-rank techniques. In the camp dormitory, Su Hong trained in one of the rooms. Sitting on the floor, he cultivated Golden Wave of Metal, Woodvine Strangulation, and Water Dragon, raising all 3 skills to the beginner level. Su Hong had never imagined he would have so many A-rank martial arts. He also managed to accumulate a lot of martial value over the last few days. With about 3,000 points left over, he began to invest in blood vitality once more. Su Hong's body expanded. His muscles swelled under the bombardment of energy. His vital blood reached 450 points. Only 50 left to break through the barrier and reach Tier 2 as a martial practitioner. With 100 points remaining, he thought about increasing his spirit or strengthening his sovereign body. Su Hong decided to strengthen his body and spent the 100 martial Dao points. Unexpectedly, those 100 points yielded only a 0.1% increase in the power of his sovereign body. Realizing how expensive it was to evolve it, he decided to prioritize reaching Tier 2 as a martial practitioner. Su Hong stood up and decided to go to the Beast Room. However, Grandmaster Qin was waiting for him at the door. "Su Hong, do you need a healing martial art?" Su Hong did not imagine that the old man was going to challenge yet another old companion. The protagonist was taken to the Hang City training camp. A mist covered the canyon where the property was located. The old master Wang Qingshan was giving some instructions. For this special training in wild areas, you must survive for 7 days in the 10,000 Demons mountain range without carrying any supplies. Su Hong had joined the group that would head to the mountain range. It would only be possible to obtain contribution points by defeating beasts of one's own level or higher. As expected from a capital province competition, the place was filled with geniuses, and the difficulty of that training far surpassed that of Star City. At Old Wang's command, all participants leaped from the property toward the canyon. Old Wang asked his companion if there wouldn't be any problems, since Su Hong wasn't even in Tier 2. The Grandmaster reminded him, but if Su Hong wins, you will teach him an A-rank healing martial art. Qin Tianli wagered with a smile. In exchange for every one of your students who defeats Su Hong, I will teach an A-rank martial art. Old Wang revealed, half of my students are already at level 2. Will you be able to teach all of them? Even so, he decided not to push it and commented, worried, won't letting this child come into contact with those beasts so early do some harm? Grandmaster Qin was surprised. Have those beasts appeared again? But Wang reassured him, stating that only Tier 2 or Tier 3 beasts had emerged. Grandmaster Qin became worried about his companion's students. Wang Qingshan knew how cruel the Thousand Races War was. There was no way to forge someone strong enough to face it without them going through danger. Old Qin sighed. In his heart, he did not wish for Su Hong to conquer first place, but only for him to survive. At that moment, Su Hong was using the Nine Heavens Destroying Spear to eliminate giant monsters. From his other hand, countless light arrows were also fired. A giant serpent noticed the energy cords he had created. When night arrived, Su Hong used the Water Dragon skill to eliminate a massive fire tiger. Next, he entered the beast's cave to rest. Despite the massive power of his martial arts, Su Hong's spiritual energy was clearly insufficient to keep utilizing all of them. Fortunately, he had accumulated enough martial value. The time had come to evolve into a Tier 2 practitioner. Su Hong sat on the cave floor and transferred his points to his vital blood. At the same time, in the nearby forest, an Awakened was walking in silence. The man, dressed in gang clothes, complained, dissatisfied, forcing me to come check this in the middle of the night. Is so much care really necessary? We already hid the sacrifice site deep within the 10,000 Demons mountain range. How could there be anyone in this cursed place? However, when he reached the cave, he was shocked to see the slaughtered tiger. That showed there really was someone there. The man approached the cave entrance and shouted, I know you were hiding in there. Come out and I won't make you suffer too much. Entering the cave with arms wide open, the man spoke. You killed a level 2 black flame tiger. You have at most the strength of a level 2 or 3 practitioner. Do not try to resist, or I will show you what hell on earth is. Su Hong hid himself. The man's tone of voice showed he was not a good person. Despite having reached Tier 2, Su Hong did not have the confidence to defeat a Tier 4 martial arts practitioner. Knowing he needed to escape somehow, Su Hong struck the ground with the tip of his spear, creating a water dragon. The dragon attacked the man, who smiled at finally finding the intruder. He drew his fire sword and cut the water dragon. The simple clash made him discover that his enemy was only at the beginning of Tier 2. Su Hong took advantage of the man dealing with the water dragon to slip past him and flee. The man pursued him. Managing to slaughter a black flame tiger right at the beginning of level 2? You are a genius. But my favorite thing is eliminating geniuses like you before they can grow. The man was surprised when the young man stopped running. He asked why he had stopped. The protagonist stared at the man. Judging by the vital strength he displayed, he should be only at the beginning of Tier 3. Su Hong had been worried because he believed him to be a Tier 4 practitioner. The tattoo of 2 black wings on his neck showed that he belonged to the Dark Races cult. The cult members were humans, but they were ashamed of their humanity and took pride in becoming part of the countless races. They launched treacherous attacks and captured humans for sacrifices in exchange for rewards. Su Hong hated people like that and believed it was his duty to eliminate them. The man advanced against Su Hong, drawing his sword and using fire magic. A slash wrapped in the flames of the celestial sky was launched against Su Hong. It was the first time he was facing a Tier 3 martial practitioner. Su Hong was determined to give it his all. The protagonist used the skill, reverting the river. The wave of energy collided against the flaming slash. The protagonist was shocked to realize that his attack had won. As for the man, his eyes widened, wondering how he could have lost. The young man was supposed to possess only the water attribute, but he was also using the thunder attribute in that attack. Infuriated, he brandished his sword repeatedly, launching countless blows. Su Hong dodged all of them and appeared behind the thug. A wave of thunder took shape. Su Hong stared at the man with fierce eyes and unleashed the sea of lightning upon him. The The man tried to flee, but vines trapped his foot. Upon seeing a wood attribute control martial art, he was even more surprised. With the thug trapped, the sea of lightning fell upon him without giving him any chance to escape. In the place where the man should have been, however, only a pile of lava emerged. Su Hong wondered if that was some bizarre technique. A little further ahead, a lava man began to take shape, materializing the cultist's body once again. The thug cursed, "What bad luck of mine! This guy isn't just a genius, he's a monster." Su Hong found him easily and would not allow him to escape. The man roared in fury, and the wing tattoo on his neck glowed. Wings similar to a bat's appeared on his back as he bellowed, "Feel the power of the celestial race!" Discovering that the cultist could transform into something between human and monster, Su Hong attacked before he could flee. However, the man managed to grab the tip of the spear, stopping the blow's advance. The thug smiled confidently. "When I complete my bloodline transformation, I will be a true celestial. I will not allow you to interfere with the sacrifice." While the man held the tip of the spear, Su Hong wrapped it in flames. The protagonist used the flame cage, causing whirlwinds of fire to emerge around the cultist. With nowhere to escape, the protagonist executed the 9 heavens destroying spear. As soon as the tip of the spear struck the man, his body was shattered as if it were made of clay. Fragments still fell in the distance, cursing Su Hong one last time before being reduced to ashes. Su Hong obtained 212 martial points for defeating the celestial mutant. He was surprised by the amount of points. Even after fighting beasts on the mountain for several hours, he had obtained little more than 500. Remembering what the man had said about sacrifices, Su Hong realized he needed to inform his master. It was night at the camp, and the lights remained on. Grandmaster Qin received a message from the young man. Su Hong reported to me that he encountered the Dark Races cult. He also said the cult is performing some kind of sacrifice ritual and asked us to go save some people. Old Wang explained that this time, the targets of the ritual were the cultists themselves. They could simply ignore them. Old Wang was surprised to see that his old friend Qin was still calmly sipping tea instead of running to save his students. However, the old man remained calm. It was only an initial stage tier 3 cultist. He has already been defeated by Su Hong. Old Wang scoffed, thinking there was some exaggeration in the story. A level 2 practitioner at the initial stage, killing a level 3 practitioner at the initial stage, and on top of that, a Dark Races cultist? Your student likes to brag too much. 3 days later, Su Hong continued defeating beasts. He had already eliminated some tier 3 beasts, but he did not find any other cultist. Having obtained only 800 martial value points in total left him frustrated. That was less than he would earn by defeating 4 Dark Races cultists. Suddenly, Su Hong looked up. There was a woman upon the tree branches. With a wing tattoo on her back and carrying a whip, she addressed him. "Hey, handsome young man. Your perception is not bad since you managed to discover my presence." With short hair, blue lipstick, and seductive red eyes, the woman spoke with regret. "If we met on another occasion, this older sister wouldn't mind providing you with unforgettable moments. But since you trespassed into this place today, you will not leave alive." With a flick of the whip, several thorns emerged, flying in Su Hong's direction. The protagonist smiled upon realizing that the Dark Races cult was delivering martial points to him as if it were a delivery service. Su Hong attacked with a water dragon. The woman dodged and attacked his neck, but he managed to grab the whip. Su Hong pulled her using her own weapon. With the woman coming toward him, the protagonist used the Phantom Fist, and his punch knocked her to the ground. With the spear pointed at her, Su Hong demanded that she tell where the demonic cult's base was. In a weak voice, she stated she was willing to reveal everything if he spared her. Discovering that the enemy base was 10 kilometers away, Su Hong also asked how many Tier 3 practitioners there were. The woman revealed there were 3 in total, in addition to 3 Tier 2 practitioners. However, since Su Hong had already dealt with one, and now with this woman, the number of enemies decreased. While he was thinking, the woman rolled backward, escaping. With the celestial race transformation, wings appeared on her back, and she rose up. With her strength doubled, she thought she would win, but a lightning bolt fell from the sky, striking her. Attacking her without mercy, Su Hong declared that he would not spare a single member of the Dark Races cult. He knocked her to the ground and obtained 208 martial value points. In the middle of the forest lay a small pyramid, the base of the 1,000 Demonic Races cult. A small group was surrounded by dozens of cultists. One of them roared, "That bastard lied! He said there were only 2 or 3 level 3 practitioners, but all of them are of that level." A blood commander waved, giving the order to eliminate the invaders. Driven by hatred against geniuses, the evil practitioners advanced. The righteous cultists did not fear and confronted them head-on. Flying above the cultist base, Master Wang asked what Qin Tianlie thought of the 3 greatest geniuses of Hang City. Tianlie praised them for their courage. Being at the rear, Master Wang let them fight, ready to save them if he needed to. However, Master Qin realized it would not be necessary. My little monster has arrived to save your little friends. Old Wang snorted, asking how much his friend had drunk to think that a Tier 1 person would save a group of Tier 3 practitioners. The best of Hang City roared fiercely, supporting one another. A cultist created an energy claw and attacked them frontally. However, before they could be harmed, a lightning bolt struck the cultist, throwing him far away. The cultist slammed into a tree, his body pinned by a spear. Everyone was shocked and looked for the new invader. With lightning in his hands, Su Hong was already eliminating 2 other enemies. His attacks were fast as light, knocking down everyone in his path, zigzagging between the cultists and delivering a punch to each of them. Clearing his path, Su Hong reached the group from Hang City. "Are you guys okay?" Jaw dropped, they asked if the young man was Su Hong from Star City. They were impressed by his strength. Even Old Wang was shocked. "Old Qin, how can your student use the Palm Thunder? Do you want me to teach him wood attribute healing arts?" Seeing Su Hong use the Palm Thunder continuously, Old Qin wondered, could it be that he has already reached Tier 2? Su Hong was at Tier 1 when they arrived at the camp. This advancement was surprising even to him. The protagonist warned the trio from Hang City that he would provide cover for them and told them to retreat. Su Hong was irritated as the woman from the previous night had tricked him. The situation was better than he thought. He could eliminate everyone and earn a large amount of Dao points. A cultist advanced in his direction, furious at the audacity of a young man. Su Hong confronted him, and a single blow filled him with wounds, knocking him down in an instant. With lightning emerging in his hands, Su Hong stared at the other enemies. They retreated in fear. Screams spread, begging for the Blood Commander to save them. The leader of the group, however, breathed in the blood in the air. The man in vampire clothes thanked them. "The sacred cult of the 1,000 races will not forget your sacrifice. All of this is worth it." Su Hong stopped his battle as he saw the blood of the enemies move toward the pyramid. It converged toward the commander of the group, piling up around him. From the Blood Commander's back, angel wings emerged. With a voice that overflowed with power, he questioned the winds. "Inferior humans, the noble celestial race has arisen. Why aren't you kneeling?" With the new power he obtained, the commander rose up. Su Hong was not afraid. He thought only of the martial points he would obtain by eliminating a true member of the celestial race. The celestial commander looked at Su Hong with contempt. "Bug, who allowed you to stare at me?" He disappeared, appearing behind Su Hong to attack him with his fists. Surprised by the enemy's speed, Su Hong turned around, blocking the attack. The lingering impact destroyed everything around them. The Celestial was surprised that such a powerful human existed. Su Hong, on the other hand, needed to stay focused. Faced with a genius human, the Celestial, who had newly assumed that body, planned to eliminate him to avoid future worries. However, he noticed damage to his body. The physical curse was beginning to cause a collapse from him using the power of a Tier 4. Maintaining only the power of the peak of Tier 3, sufficient to finish off a weaker human, he attacked again. Su Hong analyzed everything the Celestial had said and discovered that it was not a real Celestial, just a human possessed by one. Confidently, Su Hong began his counterattack. A rain of punches was exchanged between the two. Master Qin praised the Celestial's physical body for being able to trade blows with Su Hong. Old Wang rebuked him. The Celestial is not the impressive one, but what is with Su Hong? He is actually fighting a celestial being with pure physical strength and even suppressing his opponent. By this time, Su Hong had obtained the advantage in the duel. His attacks broke through the Celestial's defense, striking him. With a heavy blow, he forced the enemy away. The Celestial was shocked to see that the body he possessed had been wounded. Su Hong taunted him. "Already tired? Can't you keep going?" The protagonist smiled and exuded power. He had never had so much fun since he awakened the sovereign body. The Celestial cursed the weak physical body, which limited his powers. Su Hong was also disappointed, as he could not enjoy that combat much longer. Being humiliated by a human, the Celestial's fury reached its peak. He gave up on that physical body and used a powerful magic, Divine Treasure. Portals began to emerge above him. Hundreds of golden spears were invoked, surrounding Su Hong. The protagonist was shocked by the powerful skill. Unfortunately, he received the notification that he could not copy it. Old Wang explained to his friend that this was the innate martial art of the Celestials. Only members of the pure bloodline could use it. He became worried and wanted to act to save Su Hong, but Master Qin calmed him down. Su Hong still hasn't used his true abilities. Calmly, Old Qin revealed that Su Hong possessed 100% affinity with all 7 attributes and had mastered the fusion technique. Old Wang's jaw dropped upon hearing him. The Celestial did not plan to let Su Hong keep growing. He sent his spears to finish him off permanently. The protagonist waited for the attack to approach. Lightning emerged around his body while his eye glowed like fire. Being forced to fight with everything for the first time, he conjured the third instance of the Nine Heavens Destroying Spear. A cannon of flames and lightning was created at the tip of Su-hong's spear, devastating the enemy attack and plunging toward the Celestial. With a look of shock, he could not even say much before being swallowed by the attack. The explosion consumed him, leaving behind only ashes of what was once a divine existence. In the path of Su-hong's attack, only a trail of destruction remained. Even half of the pyramid disappeared. Su-hong obtained more than 800 martial points but exhausted his energy. Master Qin and Master Wang descended from the sky. It was Master Wang who approached first. My dear genius. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it even if my life depended on it. A level 2 martial arts practitioner defeated a celestial being. The protagonist, being caressed by the old Taoist, tried to explain that there was not much to be excited about. Su-hong was somewhat upset about being forced to use his trump card. He found it difficult to imagine how terrible a genius among the Celestials would be. Seeing a look of astonishment on the master's faces, Su-hong asked if he had said something wrong. 4 days later, the special training ended. Everyone gathered at the Hang City facilities. Su-hong took first place with 17,000 points. The second-placed participant had less than a third of that, 4,700 points. Luo Dao, King Lei, and Chen Su, the geniuses, cursed how powerful Su-hong was. Even together, they did not believe they could defeat him. Changing the subject, they looked for Su-hong. In the main building, Master Wang was cursing. Damned little monster. He learned my healing martial art in less than half a day. Su-hong remained training inside the building, sitting in a lotus position. Su-hong's body glowed. He praised the most valuable healing technique among the A-rank arts. All of his wounds disappeared. Adding up all the points he earned by defeating beasts and cultists, Su-hong currently possessed 4,800 martial points. Not only could he increase his spirit to 500 points and become a Tier 2 spiritual master, but he could also increase his vital blood a bit. On the planet of the celestial races lay the Celestial Temple, a castle surrounded by waterfalls and trees worthy of fables. In the Great Hall, 5 beings were seated on thrones. Before them stood a subordinate who was questioned. When facing a human from an entire realm lower than yours, not only was your physical strength suppressed, but you still lost even after using the divine treasure. Tian Ming, the man of the celestial race who had possessed the Blood Commander and fought against Su-hong, explained, "This human cannot be described merely as a genius." The Celestials called upon another person, Tian Shang. Tian Shang approached with a confident smile. One of the Celestial Commanders warned, "If this young man is not eliminated, he will inevitably become a major threat. Issue a Celestial Eradication Order, and eliminate this person as quickly as possible." Tian Shang smiled and accepted the mission. Proceeding, the giant statue questioned if any divine artifact had been found in human territory. Tian Shang denied it, but stated that they had found recent news. The order to continue the search was issued. A bear growled fiercely, but Wang Tiantou defeated it. Everyone at the Star City training camp watched him fight. Wang Tiantou and Xiaoyan had spent the entire day in the Gravity Room and the Beast Room, converting their contribution points into strength pills. On the other hand, Lin Xinghe focused on his physical training. The 3 wanted to face Su-hong when he returned. Linze received Master Qin and asked where Su-hong was. The old man revealed that the boy wanted to remain training in the forest. Remembering that the camp would end soon, Linze asked if Su-hong would return in time. Master Qin told him not to worry. 2 days later, on top of a rock, Su-hong was training, while a serpent as big as a mountain sneaked up to attack him. He was increasing his spirit points when the giant beast attacked. With the palm thunder, Su-hong raised his hand, frightening the serpent. He used the weapon condensation art, creating a sword as big as the mountain. It came down upon the serpent, slicing it like sushi. Su-hong was impressed with the power of Tier 2 telekinetic art. With his spirit strengthened, Su-hong found himself capable of fusing 3 attributes. In one hand were fire and thunder, and in the other, metal energy. He brought the 2 closer in an unstable manner and soon lost control. The mountain peak where he was collapsed. Su-hong was almost buried by the rocks, but imagined that if he were successful in his goal, he could use that attack to wound even Tier 4 practitioners. Su-hong returned to the training camp facilities on the final day. Several people ran to warn Tiantou and the others. The 3 geniuses gathered with Master Qin and, with confidence, stated they could win. Overhearing the conversation, Su-hong asked if they really wanted to challenge him. Revealing their auras, the three ensured that Su-hong should not look down on them, as they had reached Tier 2. The protagonist smiled embarrassedly and revealed that he had also advanced. The three geniuses were shocked, since Su-hong was at the beginning of Tier 1 not long ago. However, among them, the young Xiaoyan still remained confident because, besides being a Stage 2 cultivator, she was also a Tier 1 spiritual master. Xiaoyan used the weapon condensation art, creating a giant sword. However, her condensation was destroyed. Su-hong apologized as he created an even larger sword. He revealed that he was also a spiritual master specialized in telekinesis. Xiaoyan was even more shocked, as he was a tier above her. Su-hong looked around and challenged the entire camp. His eyes, crazy for points, frightened everyone. Su-hong attacked them, making them scream in desperation. Bai Mu and Linza felt sad, as Master Qin had hidden from them that Su-hong was a spiritual master. However, even Master Qin was losing his mind. The surprise passed and he laughed out loud with happiness. Looking at Su-hong, who was spinning several cultivators in the air, Master Qin's duo of subordinates wondered if they should stop him. The Grandmaster suddenly noticed something. The great celestial phoenix appeared in the sky, warning, "The 30 days are over. Humans, get out of here." Su-hong was surprised to see the bird again. Old Qin infuriated at the bird's arrival. "Stinky chicken, I saved you from being humiliated, but you are pushing your luck." The Grandmaster rose into the skies, overflowing with his strength. The giant bird was not afraid of Qin Tianlie, but the old man took all his frustration out on it. The great bird was thrashed in an instant. Su-hong could feel, even from afar, the temperature of the bird's Tier 7 flames, and saw how Master Qin dominated it. The giant bird screamed in desperation, telling Master Qin to let it go, as it had backup this time. At that moment, a dark voice echoed, frightening even Grandmaster Qin. "That is enough." In the center of the forest, a being larger than the mountains emerged. Its red eyes were directed at the camp, and its presence created waves of energy. The enraged eyes wandered, as if looking for something. Bai Mu could not believe that the Lord of the Demon race had appeared. Lindsay never imagined that the great golden bird would ally itself with the 1,000 dark races. Su-hong clenched his hand tightly. That was one of the greatest existences of the mountains. Even the weakest of them was at Tier 9. The giant being carried an overwhelming aura. Su-hong felt that even a Tier 7 Grandmaster was insignificant before it. The protagonist felt helplessness. Against something like that, he could not protect his aunt and uncle nor himself. The emergence of such an existence made him realize that he needed to surpass Tier 9 and reach the realm of kings. Qin Tianlie praised the Firebird for having moved even the Lord of the Demons. Master Qin retreated, while the bird fled. Knowing that the Lord of the Demons had an agreement with humanity, Qin Tianlie hoped he would not make any move against the young generation. Despite the scare, the camp came to a peaceful end. Spending a month away from home, Su-hong believed his aunt and uncle were worried. Several people said goodbye to him. Li Tu and Chen Shan approached, commenting on how they would be famous when they returned. They tried to be friendly to keep themselves by Su-hong's side. Someone interrupted them, praising everyone for their arduous training. The city lord revealed that, to welcome them back, he had prepared a banquet along with many gifts. Everyone celebrated, but Su-hong only wanted to go home. In the city lord's estate, cars and limousines pulled up in front of the grand mansion with a red carpet. The banquet hall gleamed with the gold of the ceiling. Dozens of luxurious tables and chairs spread across the venue. Upon each table lay delicious dishes. Unexpectedly, Su-hong's aunt and uncle were present. The two caught the attention of several other parents who wore luxurious clothes. They criticized them for looking so poor. Su-hong's aunt became worried that they were embarrassing their nephew by dressing so simply. His uncle didn't think they could do anything about it. After all, those were their best clothes. As they spoke, the school principal, Li Chengshan, approached to greet them. Su-hong's aunt and uncle stood up to receive him. Smiling, Chengshan asked them not to be nervous. Before Chengshan could speak, Wu Lingxian approached, shaking the hand of Su-hong's uncle. "I am the president of the Star City Martial Arts Practitioners Association, Wu Lingxian. That boy, Su-hong, is the most promising genius I have ever seen." Wu Lingxian and Chengshan caught everyone's attention. They questioned who Su-hong was and who the Su family was. At an isolated table sat 3 people. Lin Xinghe praised the city lord's son, falsely claiming he must have obtained first place. The Lord Wang Ni returned the compliment to him and the other representative at the table. "Haha, your Xiao and Lin families also make me envious. One possesses the only telekinetic spirit among the younger generation of Star City, and the other has a terrifying comprehension, having mastered the A-rank martial art, the cloud-shaking flying swan steps, even being only at the initial stage of level 1. Xiaoyan's father replied proudly, "My young heir will probably take first place." Lin Xing's father, however, disagreed, irritating him. The city lord slammed the table, roaring, "My Tiantuo's attack is beyond what ordinary people can achieve. He will definitely be number 1. The three argued and were watched by Wu Lingxian and the others. The school principal asked if she was going to stop them. She crossed her arms. "You want me, an older single woman, to go break up a fight among a bunch of guys who are showing off their kids? I might not be able to resist the temptation to give them a beating." Changing the subject, Wu Lingxian commented that Su Hong should shut their mouths when he arrived. Since they still didn't know the result, the school principal asked if she was really that confident. A subordinate suddenly appeared, reporting the arrival of the transport for the youths from the camp. Lord Wang nodded, authorizing the welcome. The three leaders stood up and went to the mansion's entrance to receive their children. Lin Xingge and Xiaoyan emerged with several bruises, startling their parents, who blamed Wang Tiantuo. However, Lord Wang pointed to his own son, showing that he was in the exact same condition. Xiaoyan blamed him for not surrendering. Surprised and angered, the trio asked their children who had beaten them. The three youths revealed their Tier 2 practitioner auras, frightening the trio even more, who imagined that some monster had emerged to surpass them. Wang Tiantuo revealed, "He is stronger than me." Lin Xingge added, "He is faster than me." Xiaoyan concluded, "His telekinetic spirit is more powerful than mine." Looking toward a bus, the three youths allowed their parents to see the monster with their own eyes. Several young cultivators got off the bus and lined up in front of the door for someone to descend. Su Hong stepped off the bus, embarrassed by what they were doing. He clicked his tongue, complaining, "I just wanted to go home. My aunt and uncle are waiting for me." Su Hong's aunt and uncle appeared, waving at him. Passing through the reporters, Su Hong's aunt ended up tripping. A barrier unexpectedly emerged around her, lifting her into the air. Su Hong approached, asking if she was okay. His uncle was surprised by the martial art he had demonstrated. The couple, weathered by time, showed their concern for the only youth in the family, receiving him with affection. Lord Wang trembled in shock. He did not expect to see a Tier 2 telekinesis master. The academy director and the association president pointed at each other, roaring in irritation in unison. "Why didn't you tell me Su Hong was a telekinesis spiritualist?" The two were startled, as neither of them knew about it. Happiness took over the duo. Having nurtured Su Hong, nothing could threaten their positions now. The reporters immediately called their publishing houses, passing on the information about Su Hong. Others commanded their subordinates to prepare gifts, while some even thought about making an arranged marriage proposal. A golden tray was placed before Su Hong with a black card in an envelope. The Lord of Star City, Wang Ni, introduced himself, handing the youth the title of #1 star. There lay the deed to a villa, along with 3 million in cash. The prize for first place in the training camp. The people around immediately realized that this had been prepared at the last minute to try to forge bonds with the Su family. Wang Ni extended his hand, assuring, "As one of the greatest talents of Star City, if you need anything in the future, just ask. I will do everything in my power to help." Su Hong understood the situation immediately. If he refused the city lord's offer, he would offend him. But if he agreed to ally with him, he might not be able to refuse his requests in the future. The city lord held a lot of power, and Su Hong could not offend him. But if the lord protected his family, Su Hong would be free to train with peace of mind. There was also Master Qin and the others. Therefore, there was no reason to worry about Lord Wang's demands. Su Hong shook his hand, thanking him for his kindness. Immediately, Su Hong decided to reap the rewards. He introduced his aunt, revealing that she had a rare illness, and asked for help with her treatment. Su Hong's aunt and uncle were on the verge of tears, seeing how much their nephew thought of them. Lord Wang sent a subordinate to take care of the matter and look for medicinal herbs. After that, he asked if there was anything else Su Hong desired. When the young man stated he was looking for a new weapon, the Lord smiled, asking him to tag along. Lord Wang was happy to deepen his bonds with the genius. Su Hong said goodbye to his aunt and uncle. Lord Wang left his son in charge of the banquet. Wang Tiantuo approached Su Hong's aunt and uncle, treating them as if they were his own. "Please come with me." In everyone's eyes, the Su family had reached a whole new echelon. Su Hong went to the armory of the city lord's mansion. Wang Ni presented swords and spears from C rank to A rank. He asked what Su Hong's attribute was, so they could head to the area where the weapons compatible with him were located. The protagonist asked if, by any chance, Lord Wang possessed multi-attribute weapons. Curious, Wang Ni asked if he could control more than one attribute. Su Hong revealed he controlled all 7 attributes and asked if there was any weapon that matched him. Having decided to reveal himself, Su Hong planned to impress everyone so that he would be evaluated at the highest possible level. Wang Ni was curious to know how Su Hong's cultivation was so fast, despite possessing so many attributes. It was said that someone with 7 attributes would never reach the second tier. However, the youth had not only achieved it, but had also advanced as a spiritualist, possessing a body that surpassed even that of Tiantuo's barbarian god. Lord Wang never imagined that a monster like that would appear in his city. In the end, he sighed, "My good nephew Su Hong, your uncle Wang is truly useless." The protagonist asked what had happened. Stating that 7 attribute weapons were extremely rare, Wang Ni explained that he possessed only a few dual attribute weapons in his armory. Wang Ni picked up a spear, explaining that he only had the deep gold spear of B rank as a 3 attribute weapon. Su Hong thanked him. That spear would be more than enough for him. Handing the weapon to Su Hong, Wang Ni commented on some anomalies and beasts that were appearing around the city. He explained that while the camp was taking place, several anomalies arose all over the world. Not only did multi-attribute beasts appear, but also natural treasures. Someone had seen, for example, a lightning beast that also breathed fire. Wang Ni pointed to Stargazing Lake as one of the locations where these sightings had occurred. Su Hong thanked him and left. At dusk, a limousine stopped in front of the apartment where Su Hong's aunt and uncle lived. The neighborhood people noticed that it was an official city vehicle. That revealed that the city lord was visiting the neighborhood. The woman who had appeared a few days prior looked at the car, imagining her son Lin Nian inside it. She cursed Su Hong for taking her son's spot. The car door opened. Su Guoming and Alan stepped out from one side. Su Hong stepped out from the other. That caused an enormous shock to the landlady. Uncle Su approached the woman. "Sister Hong, you are here. I came to tell you something. Our Su Hong took first place in the camp, and the city lord gave us a villa. We are moving tomorrow." The couple smiled as they said they would no longer live there. Aunt Lan even mocked the woman who always picked on her, leaving her the deposit money. The couple entered the house along with Su Hong as they talked about the move. Night soon arrived. Su Hong climbed up to the roof. It would be his last time cultivating in that place. After evolving his spirit, he gained many martial points by defeating everyone at the training center, and now possessed 1,900 points again. Su Hong sat in the lotus position and invested the points into his vital blood, reaching 700 points. This caused him to reach the middle stage of the second tier. Su Hong's muscles bulged under his shirt as energy flowed intensely throughout his body. After strengthening his body, Su Hong checked his cell phone for news about the anomalies mentioned by Lord Wang. However, upon picking up the device, he accidentally broke it because he still could not control his own strength. Since the cell phone was not completely destroyed, he managed to look up the information. An S-rank spiritual herb had appeared outside the country. A fire attribute beast gained the thunder and earth attributes after coming into contact with something mysterious. And all the practitioners who touched that object perished inexplicably. A fierce Tier 2 beast with multiple attributes was spotted at Stargazing Lake, attracting a large number of Tier 3 and 4 martial arts practitioners. Su Hong thought that, although he could not defeat the beast, he would be able to escape if he just went to take a look. Thus, he set his goal for the following day. The next day, the move was made to the villa in the Star City district. There were so many gifts at the mansion that Su Hong's uncles did not know what to do. With so many wealthy people around, they were afraid of embarrassing their nephew. In front of the house, all the wealthiest people in the region came to visit Su Hong to welcome him. The protagonist greeted everyone, and when he returned inside, he was exhausted. At the martial practitioner's base, crowds gathered before the hunts. With the anomalies appearing, Su Hong imagined that everyone must be heading to the Star Lake. He heard some awakened ones complaining about the presence of the Tier 3 and 4 practitioners. The weaker practitioners did not have an easy life with their presence. On the second floor, a man observed the crowd through the glass wall. Yechi questioned the young man drinking sparkling wine. "Are you sure it was Su Hong who sent my nephew to heaven?" The seated young man affirmed that he was sure. He stood up, stating he had one more thing to say. As soon as he took a step forward, Yechi fell to the floor, pressed down by his aura. The young man, dressed in luxurious clothes and wearing a necklace with a celestial pendant, ordered, "Mind your status and call me sir." There were already countless people around the Star Lake at that moment. The hunters observed the region and the water. Su-hong hid, looked around, and did not see any Tier 1 practitioners, only of higher levels. There were even some Tier 4 martial practitioners. The Star Lake only generated Tier 2 fierce beasts with multiple attributes. The number of experts in areas with beasts of even higher levels must be even more absurd. Suddenly, a group saw the water bubble. A gigantic beast created huge waves as it rose. Even Su-hong was startled when a giant sea serpent with the face of a catfish emerged. From the beast's mouth, a ball of energy began to form. Many ran, but the practitioners of Tier 3 and above were not afraid. A Earth attribute martial artist at Tier 4 punched the ground and created a stone wall. But the energy beam destroyed his barrier and threw him far away. Su-hong was surprised by the beast's dual attribute attack, which seriously injured the Tier 4 martial artist. Another awakened one advanced against the beast and hit it with a punch. The sea serpent fell out of the lake where everyone attacked it. A minute later, the beast had already been turned into sushi. The practitioners searched its entire body but found no treasure. The protagonist felt frustrated and decided to go somewhere else. There, even if he defeated a beast, he would not be able to guarantee the reward for himself. Su-hong suddenly felt danger approaching. A practitioner ambushed him. However, when trying to draw his sword, the man felt a strong pressure. This caused him to miss the attack, and Su-hong also managed to dodge. The man began to sweat, realizing he had attacked a telekinesis practitioner. As for Su-hong, he faced the Tier 4 practitioner. Knowing he would have trouble fighting someone so strong, he retreated quickly. However, soon 6 other Tier 3 practitioners appeared, subordinates of the man who had attacked Su-hong. On the other side, following the leader of the gang, 7 more men also appeared. Su-hong frowned at that strange situation. It would be difficult even for the city lord to mobilize more than a dozen Tier 3 practitioners, plus a Tier 4 practitioner. While trying to pull away, he wondered who he had offended. The group left behind was shocked by the young man's speed, but continued to pursue him. Su-hong was not trying to shake them off, however. Suddenly, the protagonist leapt above the trees. The group was shocked to see that he could fly and felt they had been humiliated. Su-hong only stopped tens of kilometers away from there, amidst the mountains. Panting heavily, he was now truly exhausted. He relied on his sovereign body to recover. Thinking about what had happened, Su-hong imagined that the bandits were related to Ye Feng's uncle, Ye Qi. Even confident that he would defeat all the Tier 3 bandits, Su-hong wondered how to deal with the Tier 4 martial artist. He thought of some battle tactics, but was afraid of being surrounded. The only answer was to find a powerful way to quickly eliminate the Tier 3 bandits and then focus on the battle against the leader. Far away from there, the leader of the bandits vented his anger against a rock. He did not believe that a Tier 2 brat had managed to escape from him. One of the subordinates warned that if Su-hong managed to return to the city, they would be in trouble. Another reminded that even their employer could be exposed. Hearing so much worry, the leader told everyone to shut their mouths. While they were talking, a group of people emerged from among the trees. Their leader explained, "Don't be so angry. Su-hong only revealed himself to be a Tier 2 telekinetic yesterday, so the information we gave you was not updated in time." That entire group wore robes that made them look like they had come out of a pantheon. Wing tattoos scattered across their bodies revealed their origin in the dark cult. The leader of the group warned, "I will ask the others to isolate this area. If you still cannot defeat Su-hong, then he will fall into my hands." The leader of the bandit group thanked him and asked him to ensure the perimeter was isolated. The leader of the cultists took out a square ceramic plate. On it, what looked like a compass pointed nowhere. They were in the wrong place and started moving again. On the second day, Su-hong was found, but he managed to keep fleeing for 2 more nights with the leader of the bandits pursuing him. On the 7th day, Su-hong was found once again while using the bathroom in the forest. The damn guy who found him was about to call his group, but Su-hong acted first, shutting him up with a kick. Even with his sovereign body, Su-hong found it difficult to keep fighting for his life. Su-hong saw no other choice but to go to the official Star City supply fortress. With no other alternative, he hoped to get some rest, believing he would not be easily attacked in official territory. As soon as he arrived at the fortress, however, his location was exposed. Noticing the stares around him, Su-hong confirmed that it was Ye Qi who was behind the pursuit. In a temporary inn, Su-hong checked his information. He possessed 705 blood points and needed to reach 900 to rise to the final stage of the second tier. He had not gained many martial points in recent days to help him. Therefore, he decided to invest the little he had into his sovereign body. Energy overflowed inside Su-hong, strengthening him. He evolved the sovereign body from 1% to 6.5%. Despite the low number, it represented a 20% increase in his total strength. Next, he practiced his elemental guiding techniques until dusk. During the night in the inn's restaurant, everyone was laughing and talking. Su-hong was eating in a corner, but suddenly lost his appetite. It had been some time, and the guys pursuing him had not yet appeared. Su-hong imagined they were planning an ambush. The group in front of Su-hong was talking. One of them revealed he had found a 3-star purple and black bamboo, but not even Tier 4 martial artists could reach it. Hearing the conversation, Su-hong became interested in the plant. This was a treasure of multiple rare attributes, containing 2 types of spiritual energy. As for a 3-star bamboo, it could contain up to 4 different attributes. Su-hong imagined himself fusing 4 attributes in the future. It would be amazing to use such a material as a handle for his spear. Su-hong joined the conversation, commenting that because of the bamboo's gravitational field, it made sense that the Tier 4 martial artists could not obtain it. The drunks who were talking recognized the good knowledge Su-hong had. One of them laughed loudly, commenting on how the martial artists who tried to take the bamboo were crushed. Su-hong stopped eating, wondering if his sovereign body could withstand this terrible gravity. Suddenly, an explosion occurred, blowing down the door of the inn. The attack traveled in Su-hong's direction and split the table in front of him. The protagonist looked toward the entrance, finally catching sight of the enemy's arrival. The group of assassins stormed the inn, trying to surround Su-hong. "Let's see if you can escape this time." The guys who were talking to Su-hong hid. They were shocked to see a Tier 3 group, led by a Tier 4 cultivator, gathered to eliminate a weak Tier 2 youth. The group of bandits ordered everyone to leave while making sure to surround Su-hong, who remained calmly seated. The leader of the bandits mocked, "Did you think we wouldn't attack you in the fortress?" The protagonist returned a malicious smile. "If I said I was waiting for you, would you believe it?" The bandit laughed out loud, asking if, by any chance, he was planning to be eliminated. Picking up the spear he had received from the city lord, Su-hong channeled fire, lightning, and metal power into its blade, ready to fight. The leader of the bandits began to sweat, startled by the triple attribute. He retreated quickly, but Su-hong pursued him. The thrust he unleashed struck the bandit's sword. With Su-hong's command, the power behind the attack exploded. The bandit was caught in the explosion. Even from the outside, people could see a flash of light, which caused a great explosion, consuming the entire inn. The people who knew what was happening inside were shocked. They did not believe that the bandits were using such great power to eliminate a simple Tier 2 youth. However, the result they saw was shocking. The bandits were the ones thrown into the air, falling outside lifeless. The leader of the bandits was still alive, however. He coughed heavily as he stood up. Still trembling, he clenched his fist in surprise. Since Su-hong was also at the center of the explosion, he believed that the youth had been caught by the attack. Sighing, he felt relieved to at least complete the mission, despite the heavy losses. At the moment he felt relieved, his eyes widened as he felt a powerful energy surge from the rubble. He looked back slowly and saw Su-hong's spear attack him, with the third force of the 9 heavens destroying spear. With a desperate action, the bandit blocked the attack. However, Su-hong vanished amidst the remaining energy. The bandit looked around, searching for Su Hong. The protagonist attacked the other bandits of the group, who were still getting up. By the time they were warned by the group's boss, it was already too late. Su Hong's sharp spear eliminated them with a few attacks. Su Hong raised the spear over his shoulder and with it, lifted 2 of the bandits. The protagonist warned, "I may not be able to eliminate a Tier 4 martial artist like you, but do not think I cannot eliminate your subordinates." Moments ago, Su Hong had condensed the Earth battle armor. It was thanks to it and his sovereign body that he managed to survive the explosion caused by the failure to fuse 3 attributes. Su Hong swung the spear, throwing the 2 subordinates back to their leader. With almost all the Tier 3 martial artists eliminated, Su Hong fled, knowing he needed to complete the fusion of 3 attributes before thinking about defeating the leader of the bandits. Seeing the young man flee without being able to pursue him, the man hired by Ye Qi roared furiously at the heavens, swearing he would have his revenge. There was a huge line to enter the base. Lin Xinghe was at the location to visit Su Hong, but did not find him at the new house. Tian Tuo was with him and felt motivated upon seeing that Su Hong had rested for only 1 day after the camp. Xiaoyan hurried them to enter quickly, hoping to find Su Hong at the lake. In Ye Qi's office, he threw a cup on the floor. He could not believe his subordinates were being so stupid as to attack Su Hong near their base. He was afraid of being exposed to the city lord, Wang Ni. In the bamboo forest, there was a large gravitational field, which crushed everything that entered its domain. There was a single bandit standing in the center of the bamboo grove. Practitioners tried to reach him, but could not even take a step forward. Since the strength of the gravitational field was 30 times normal gravity, many did not believe that ordinary martial practitioners could reach there. Some martial artists were talking when a group of people wearing robes appeared. The man with the stone tablet in his hand explained to the others, "The higher the cultivation level of a martial artist, the greater the gravity exerted by the gravitational field. If a level 4 martial artist like me enters, the gravity I will have to endure will probably be several times greater than that of a level 3 martial artist." Even though the purple bamboo was precious, there was no point in fighting for it if they could not obtain it. The leader of the group thought about looking for something else when his compass pointed to a place. It pointed unexpectedly to the center of the bamboo grove. The divine artifact he was looking for was inside the purple bamboo, but he did not know how to obtain it. The man suddenly noticed a shadow moving through the forest. It was Su Hong. Discovering that the group of assassins failed to deal with someone weaker, the man became enraged. He intended to deal with Su Hong himself. With merit points ringing his bell, he did not stand still. He knew he would be rewarded by the Lord if he eliminated Su Hong. The protagonist felt a strong aura approaching. A spear thrust passed right over his shoulder. Equipping energy armor, Su Hong shot back with an explosion of fire. After the brief and rapid clash, the two stopped, staring at each other. The protagonist praised the man for blocking his attack. The cultist did not hold back and attacked once more with the tip of his spear. Seeing that the cultist knew his name, Su Hong imagined that Ye Dai had allied with them. He counterattacked, using the new spear allied with his elements. The two spears clashed, creating an explosion in the middle of the forest. The cultist was sent flying backward, hitting his back against several trees before stopping. He panted heavily, not believing that this was the power of a Tier 2 martial artist. Suddenly, he noticed that Su Hong was running toward the purple bamboo grove. The man shouted for his subordinates to stop him. A group blocked Su Hong's path. With cultists in front of him and a martial arts practitioner in the rear, Su Hong found himself with no escape route. One of the group members asked if they should undergo the transformation, but another was confident that the attack Su Hong had used could only be demonstrated once, and that he must be defenseless now. They trusted that their leader, Bai Ao, would defeat Su Hong as soon as he stood up. A bald man leading the group of subordinates advanced first, and the moment he released his aura, a blow struck his shoulder. The attack pierced through his body, hitting the other cultists as well. Su Hong had advanced with a flaming spear, striking everyone in his path. The nearby cultists were shocked to see their companions fall. Knowing they had to stop Su Hong no matter what, the rest of the group began the pursuit. While running, Su Hong unleashed a wave of lightning toward his rear. The electric attack engulfed the cultists like a tsunami, demonstrating the terrible power he carried. Bai Ao managed to get up and attacked once more. The protagonist felt the leader of the cultist group approaching quickly, but Su Hong used one of the fallen bamboos as a springboard. With the cloud steps, he entered the bamboo grove. The martial arts practitioners nearby were shocked by Su Hong's speed. In 10 steps, he covered a massive distance in the blink of an eye. His body was even more impressive, dealing with the gravitational field as if it were nothing. Bai Ao tried to pursue Su Hong to show that he could defeat him anyway. However, right on the first step, the gravity increased by 30 times already made it almost impossible to proceed. Being a Tier 4 practitioner, he imagined he would need to endure a force greater than 100 times gravity if he advanced further. He saw Su Hong moving away and, as a last resort, threw his spear, trying to hit the fleeing target. The spear traveled a few meters into the bamboo grove and was soon slammed against the ground by the gravitational force of the region. The cultist roared with ferocity. "Let's see if you will stay there forever." Su Hong imagined he could keep himself safe for some time. Likewise, the 3-star rank, black and purple bamboo was already right before him. The gravity grew stronger and stronger with each step Su Hong took. Being injured, he was close to his physical limit. The protagonist remembered the healing martial arts he had learned and utilized them. Su Hong sat on the ground, using the technique to recover. The people watching him were shocked, as they remembered he had used the thunder attribute just moments ago. The leader of the cultist group ordered a subordinate, "Tell Lin Chen and the others to come here. We will join forces to eliminate Su Hong. We cannot let him escape alive by any means." With the divine artifact being inside that bamboo, the cultist was worried, because if it were obtained by someone else, they would be the ones in danger.